Chapter 59:16. The lightning tribulation in the sky continued to fall. Goose Santong had already become a sea of lightning. However, Goose Santong was very confident that he would be able to break through and become a quasi-emperor. Suddenly, a red ray of light appeared amidst the lightning and shot straight for his neck. It was extremely fast. Goose Santong did not even have time to react. By the time he did, he had already been hit. D***MN. What was that? Goose Santong roared angrily. He grabbed with his hand, but the blood-colored centipede had already entered his body and started to devour his blood. Not good. Goose Santong roared. His pupils shrank. He wanted to stop it, but it was too late. He had already suffered internal injuries. At this moment, the lightning tribulation in the sky struck down and sent him flying.
Boom.
The cultivation pagoda was split open. Goose Santong was sent flying, vomiting blood. The lightning tribulation in the sky stopped descending. The dark clouds slowly disappeared. What was going on? What happened? The surrounding elders were all dumbfounded. Luruoli's expression also changed. Not good, it was Santong. She flew over and caught Goose Santong. Gu Yenran also rushed over. She cried, "Father, how are you?" The surrounding elders exclaimed, "Did he fail?" That was impossible. The palace lord had clearly said that there was a 70% chance. How could he fail? Goose Santong was now covered in blood.
Ah.
He reached out and grabbed Luruoli. With difficulty, he said, "I was attacked. There's something in my body." Luruoli's expression changed. She quickly used her soul to investigate. In the next moment, she found that there was indeed something in Gu Santong's body. It was a blood-colored centipede, and it was devouring Gu Santong's organs. However, Gu Santong used the last of his strength to use his space bloodline to envelop the blood-colored centipede. However, he had already been severely injured by the lightning tribulation. He did not have the strength to destroy it. Luruoli quickly used her strength to try and kill the blood-colored centipede. The blood-colored centipede was very strange. It could not be killed. Moreover, it was trying to merge with Gu Santong's bloodline. This made her even more afraid to attack. The other elders also stepped forward to give it a try. In the end, they all failed. This was a type of exotic beast. The bloody slaughter centipede was already extinct. It was impossible for it to still exist. How could it appear here? Countless cries of surprise rang out. Outside the mansion, Shui Yuanxiong laughed coldly upon seeing this, before turning around and leaving. When he returned home, Shui Yuanhao rushed over and said, "Father, how is it?" Shui Yuanxiong said, "It's done." "Really? That's great." However, Shui Yuanba said, "That guy knows the law of space." Furthermore, it was rumored that he was related to the Gu clan. If he was really a member of the Gu family, would there be trouble? So, what if he was a member of the Gu family? Shui Yuanxiong snorted coldly. The Gu clan can't even protect themselves now. There are already supreme martial artists eyeing them. Furthermore, did you think that our Shui Yuan clan doesn't have a backer? We also have supreme beings behind us. Moreover, it was a living supreme martial artist. How could a dead great emperor be compared to a living prime? Therefore, this time, we will definitely be able to devour Santong Prefecture. He laughed proudly. Howard, get ready. In a month's time, it will be your wedding day. That will also be the time for us to devour Santong Prefecture. Father, don't worry, I will prepare well. The people of the Purple Spirit Realm were also shocked. The thunder tribulation had disappeared. Had he succeeded? No, the thunder tribulation had suddenly stopped. Could it be that he had failed to pass the tribulation? That was the direction of Santong Prefecture, right? Had Goose Santong failed to pass the tribulation? Countless sighs could be heard. The Supreme Saint Tribulation was indeed terrifying. It was too difficult to become a quasi-emperor. Santong Prefecture was filled with sorrow. Luruoli and the others were in despair. The current Goose Santong could be said to be extremely dangerous. He could die at any time. They took out countless heavenly treasures to deal with the blood-red centipede, but found that they were all useless. An elder said, "It looks like our methods won't work. We can only ask the Elixir King." The Elixir King? Countless people sucked in a cold breath. Lu Ruoli's expression was grave. This Elixir King was not simple. He was not a king, but six-crowned king, a quasi-emperor. And it was said that he seemed to have descended from the deity ground. No one knew why. He came to the second starfield and lived there. When he refined pills, the entire second starfield was filled with fragrance. Countless people's breaths were tumbling. The pills he refined were miraculous. Perhaps his pills could save Gu Santong. Yes, that must be it. Gu Yanran said, "Mother, I will go ask for medicine for father." With that, she rose into the air and left Santong Prefecture. Yanran, wait. Lu Ruoli exclaimed. She also wanted to leave, but with Gu Santong in such a state, she could not. She could only say to the elders beside her, "Go and accompany Yanran. Don't let her do anything rash."
Yes.
The 10 elders soared into the air to follow Gu Yanran. They flew all the way to where the Elixir King was. Gu Yanran knelt and begged the Elixir King to give her medicine. But the Elixir King did not see her. Gu Yanran cried, "Senior Elixir King, please give me a pill to save my father." The Santong Prefecture is eternally grateful. At this time, a man walked out from the stars in front of them and said, "You can go. The Elixir King will not see you." "No, give us a chance," Gu Yanran said. The young man snorted, "Don't stand here. If you don't leave in 3 seconds, I will kill you." They exuded a terrifying murderous intent. The elders behind them said, "Yanran, let's go. We are thinking of other ways." However, Yanran still refused to leave. She knew that only the other party's medicinal pill could save her father. "You won't leave?" The young man sneered and slapped out. Yanran spat out blood and retreated. "Men, kill them." Some people walked out from the stars in front of them and charged at Gu Yanran.
Go.
The elders hurried to take Gu Yanran away. At the same time, their expressions changed. This alchemy king was too ruthless, wasn't he? If he didn't want to give, so be it. Why did he have to hunt them down? The entire process was extremely tragic. 2 elders had actually fallen. The remaining people were also injured. Gu Yanran was even more desperate. The Elixir King's subordinates did not seem to stop chasing. They seemed to want to kill Gu Yanran and the others. The leading young man sneered, "Who do you think our Elixir King is? How dare you disturb him while he is refining elixirs? Go to hell." They were too domineering. Dozens of masters surrounded Gu Yanran and the others. Yanran and the others were in danger. At the critical moment, Yanran waved her hand and struck out a space law. Only then did she avoid the fatal blow. The leading young man exclaimed, "Space law, I didn't expect you to know such a precious law. Not good." Yanran's expression changed. Although she knew space law, her father had told her before that she should not use it. One should not rashly use this sort of law. Who knows, it might bring about a fatal disaster. She did not expect that she would be targeted now. "Men, capture this woman and kill the others. I will take her home and study her." The leading young man waved his hand, and dozens of people behind him rushed up. Not good. Yanran's expression changed. Those elders were all in despair. If a great battle broke out, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. At this time, a space door appeared in the nearby stars. In the next instant, a few figures walked out from inside. Chapter 59-17. The sudden appearance of the spatial door stunned Gu Yanran and the man in a single robe. Together, they looked toward the spatial gate. Several figures walked out of the spatial door. At the front was a young and handsome man. Beside him was a dragon and a toad. Beside him were several old men. The aura of space around these old men was very mysterious. Was this the power of space? Could it be someone from the House of Santong? Seeing this, the man in a red robe snorted. "You want to save them? That's impossible. Let's go and kill them all together." Behind him, more than a dozen strong men rushed toward Lin Xian and the others. Damn, what did they mean? When they saw this scene, the toad and the others were instantly enraged. Before Lin Xian could make a move, The toad slapped out with its big paw.
Boom, boom, boom.
An earth-shattering sound was heard. More than a dozen strong men were all slapped to the ground. How dare you attack me? Do you want to die? More than a dozen strong men screamed. The young man in the front was also shocked.
Who are you?
How dare you attack us? We are the disciples of the Elixir King. You are dead for offending the Elixir King. What Elixir King? We don't know you at all. You attacked us as soon as we came out. If you anger me, you will die miserably. The toad was also furious. They didn't know each other at all. They wanted to kill them as soon as they came. How could it stand it? Therefore, its huge claws directly slapped dozens of experts to death. As for the young man in the front, he wanted to escape, but he was also slapped into a bloody mist. In the blink of an eye, all of the Elixir King's subordinates were dead. Were they dead? The elders of Santong Mansion were shocked. They thought they had lost all hope. They didn't expect a group of people to come and kill them. Gu Yanran was also stunned. The next moment, she came back to her senses and said, "Thank you for saving us." Lin Xian nodded and glanced at the other party. He was slightly stunned as he felt that there was a familiar aura on the other party. However, he didn't think too much about it because they still had things to do this time. Therefore, Lin Xian and the others waved their hands and immediately turned into lightning and disappeared. Did he leave? Gu Yanran was still in shock. She asked the person next to her, "Elder, who are they?" An elder next to him sighed. "These people are much more powerful than us. They must be from the deity ground. Celestial map?" Gu Yanran raised her head and looked at the top of the universe. There was a mystical continent there. It was the deity ground. If the powerhouses of the celestial land were to intervene, would her father be saved? However, before she could speak, Lin Xian and the others had already left. Gu Yanran sighed. The elder beside her also said, "Yanran, let's go back first. It's too dangerous here." These people also returned. At Santong Prefecture, the lights were dim. Everyone was in despair. Their manor head was injured. In fact, he might even be poisoned. Furthermore, he was in grave danger. Perhaps it wouldn't be long before he died. Santong Prefecture was in a precarious situation. At the same time, a group of people arrived outside Santong Prefecture. This should be the place. Santong Prefecture was built by Gu Santong. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Behind him, the Gu family patriarch was also delighted. Gu Santong was a disciple of the Gu family. Without the help of the Gu family, he was able to establish a force. He was definitely a super genius. They were excited that they would be able to meet this genius soon. However, when they arrived at the house of Santong, these people frowned. The situation wasn't right. The Dark Flood Dragon God said, under normal circumstances, there should be guards in Santong Prefecture. However, when they arrived, no one came out. Lin Xian looked inside and frowned. Oh no! The next moment he rushed in. Inside Santong Prefecture, the guards were also in despair. They didn't go out to guard. However, they still sensed that someone had come in.
Who was it?
They shouted angrily. The next moment, they saw a young man walk in.
Who are you?
Are you from the Shuiyuan family? Damn it. They attacked. In the end, Lin Xian waved his hand and the Taiji diagram enveloped them. Lin Xian didn't hurt these people.
He just stared at them.
These people were terrified. The young man in front of them was too terrifying. Lin Xian's eyes scanned the surroundings. The next moment his face was cold. He tore open the void and flew toward the main hall in front of him. Oh no! The guards were stupefied. Were these people here to kill their prefecture lord? In the main hall, Lu Ruoli's face was pale. She hadn't rested for the past few days. She was too worried. The elixir masters she had invited all shook their heads and sighed. No one could save Gu Santong. Master He, are you really out of ideas? Lu Ruoli looked at a gray-haired elder and asked carefully. The elder stood up and shook his head.
No.
Mansion Master Gu doesn't have many days left to live. You should prepare for his funeral. Lu Ruoli was thunderstruck. At this moment, The void split open, and a figure walked in. Santong, what happened to you? The person who came was Lin Xian. This sudden change shocked Lu Ruoli. Master, he frowned. Who are you? Lin Xian didn't care about these people at all. Instead, he rushed forward. How dare you disrespect my master? A middle-aged man behind him roared and rushed forward. However, before he could get close to Lin Xian, he was sent flying by Lin Xian's power. Master, he was also furious. Just as he was about to roar in anger, he suddenly froze. He saw that in front of him. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to envelop Gu Santong. The next moment, he was furious. Who hurt me like this? A murderous intent rushed out of Lin Xian's body. Suddenly, the sky shook and the earth shook. The sky above the 9 heavens shattered. The entire mansion of Santong shook violently. All the martial artists in the mansion of Santong trembled in fear. Many of them knelt on the ground. Behind them, the Toad, the Crimson Dragon, the Gu clan leader, and the others also came in. When they saw the injured and weak Gu Santong, all of them were furious. Especially those of the Gu clan, who were filled with murderous intent. The Gu clan leader said, "Who did this? I want him to live a life worse than death." Gu Santong was the Gu clan's last hope now. But now he was in danger. It was unforgivable. Who are you? Lu Ruoli and the others were stunned. Who were these masters who suddenly appeared? Why did it feel like any one of them could defeat them? And these people did not seem to have any evil intentions. They seemed to know Santong. Could they be Santong's old friends? Lu Ruoli, as Gu Santong's wife, naturally knew some things about Gu Santong. How is his injuries? The Gu clan leader asked. Lu Ruoli sighed and said simply, Santong was ambushed when he was breaking through. I'm afraid he won't live long. Master He, who was beside him, also said, he is beyond saving. No one in the world can save him. After that, he closed his eyes. At this time, Lin Xian snorted. I can save him. You? Master He frowned. Young man, although you are strong, saving and killing are two different things. Master He shook his head. In his opinion, unless it was one of those legendary existences who made a move. Otherwise, it would be impossible. Lin Xian ignored the old man and directly took out the heavenly spring of life from the sword world. It enveloped Gu Santong's body and preserved his life. In the next moment, he placed his palm on the other party's body. The great dragon's sword Qi rushed in. Chapter 59:18. Within Gu Santong's body, the crimson centipede was destroying his body. However, at this moment, he was struck by a piercingly cold sword aura. It let out a shrill cry. Then, the sword Qi flew out of its body with it in tow. There was a flash of light, and the void was torn apart. The two halves of the crimson centipede fell to the ground. The ground instantly rotted. What was that? When the surrounding people saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. This demonic beast was too terrifying. This was the poison in Gu Santong's body. As for Gu Santong, he was vomiting blood. However, his expression eased a lot.
Santong.
Lu Ruoli cried out in surprise. Lin Xian said, his life is no longer in danger, but his body is very weak. But don't worry, with me here, he will recover in a while. A while? No longer in danger? When Master He heard this, he was stunned. He was also known as the divine hand of the holy doctor. His medical skills were superb. He had once examined Gu Santong's body and found that there was no way to save him. However, this person cured him with a few simple moves. He did not believe it. However, at this moment, Gu Santong opened his eyes. The crimson centipede in his body was gone. In addition, he had the nourishment of the heavenly spring of life, so his injuries were recovering quickly. After Gu Santong opened his eyes, he asked, Am I dead? Santong, you are not dead. It was this gentleman who saved you. Lu Ruoli pointed at Lin Xian and said. Gu Santong looked up at Lin Xian and was stunned. It's you? Lin Xian said. Long time no see. They knew each other. The surrounding people were shocked. Master He, on the other hand, was stunned. His body began to tremble. Gu Santong was cured. A dying man was cured in an instant. In the next moment, he came before Lin Xian and knelt down. "Greetings, young master." Master He's disciple was stunned. His master knelt down. He was so scared that he also knelt on the ground, his body trembling. The elders of the Santong mansion were also dumbfounded. This was Master He. Countless experts had to respect him when they saw him. Sometimes, even the quasi-emperors would have to invite them over. But now, he was actually kneeling in front of this young man. Who exactly was this young man? However, Master He said, "Young master, please bestow upon me the divine medical skills." Lin Xian shook his head. "Get up. I don't know anything about medicine." "No?" Master He was stunned. If he didn't know how could he bring a dying man back to life? Lin Xian said, "I used absolute strength." "You can't learn this kind of strength." "Absolute strength?" Master He's pupils shrank. Previously, he had mocked Lin Xian, saying that he was only good at fighting and had no ability to save people. However, at that moment, he had used his absolute strength to save someone. This was an existence that dared to snatch people from the Grim Reaper. Could it be those people from the legends? Thinking of this, he was even more in awe. This old man was foolish and offended young master. "I hope young master can forgive me." "Nothing much, you may leave." Lin Xian waved his hand. It was only then that Master He stood up and respectfully retreated to the side. Lin Xian looked at Gu Santong and said, "No matter what happened before, what did you go through? Who is your enemy? I'm here, and you're safe." Gu Santong was relieved. He knew Lin Xian's strength. He looked around and said, "Where's Yan Ran?" His daughter, Yan Ran, was not here. Lu Ruoli said that Yan Ran had gone out to find the antidote for you. What if she was ambushed by the Shuiyuan clan's people? Hurry, hurry, and find her. The elders wanted to move, but soon stopped because Yan Ran and the others had returned. "Mother, I'm back." Yan Ran was useless. She couldn't find the antidote to save father. Yan Ran was very disappointed as she came to the main hall. However, when she saw Gu Santong in the main hall, she was completely stunned. "Father, you're awake. Have you recovered from your injuries?" She ran over excitedly. She was so happy that she cried. It was this young master who saved your father. Lu Ruoli pointed at Lin Xian and said. Gu Yanran turned her head. When she saw Lin Xian, she was stunned. "It's you?" "Thank you, young master." She recognized Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also stunned. This girl is Gu Santong's daughter. When he saved her, he felt that her aura was familiar. However, he did not investigate in detail. He did not expect her to be the daughter of an old friend. Gu Santong laughed. "Why are you calling him young master? You should call him uncle. He's my brother." Gu Yanran was stunned. This young man was her uncle. The elders around them were also shocked. To think that their mansion master would have such a powerful brother. This was truly surprising. "Santong, I want to talk to you in private." Gu Santong nodded and said, "Everyone, I'm fine now."
"Please go back and rest."
Yes. The elders around them all retreated. In the room, only Lin Xian, Gu Santong, and Lu Ruoli were left, as well as Gu Yanran. Lu Ruoli also wanted to leave with Yanran. Lin Xian said, "No need. This matter is related to your family." Lu Ruoli was stunned.
Gu Santong seemed to know something.
He clenched his fist. The reason for that was because he was able to sense the auras of the old men behind him. It was the aura of the void. They were from the Gu family. Lin Xian waved his hand and gestured for the experts from the Gu family to come over. He said, "Santong, you should know me, right?" Gu Santong took a deep breath, stood up, and bowed respectfully. Gu family disciple, Gu Santong, greets the elders. Gu Yanran was stunned.
"Who are these people?"
The elder in front said in a low voice, "Santong, we're late." Then he looked at Gu Yanran and said with a smile, "We're the Void Emperor of the Gu family. I'm the Gu family patriarch." Gu Yanran was stunned. Gu family? Isn't that a great emperor family? That's a high and mighty existence. Why are they here? The next sentence shocked Gu Yanran even more. The Gu family patriarch said, "Your father, Gu Santong, is a disciple of our family. Naturally, you're also a member of the Gu family." Gu Yanran was stunned. Although she knew spatial mystiques, she was a disciple of a great emperor family. Her father had never told her this. "Santong, you've suffered." Another grand elder walked over, filled with emotion. Indeed, Gu Santong and Lin Xian were brothers, and Lin Xian still looked young and handsome. But Gu Santong's face was old, and his hair was white. It was obvious that he had suffered a lot over the years. The Gu family patriarch said, "Santong, you've suffered, but it's all in the past. From now on, you're the Gu family patriarch. We'll train you with all our might." Hearing this, Gu Santong was stunned. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli were even more shocked. What kind of status was the young patriarch of a great emperor family? Gu Santong's eyes were red. He couldn't believe it, and he looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "They're right. From now on, you're the young patriarch of the Gu family. Also, I won't let go of whoever plotted against you." Lin Xian's eyes exploded with cold, killing intent. The Gu family patriarch also nodded. That's right. They dared to attack a member of the Gu family. They really don't know what's good for them. We must avenge them. Chapter 59-19. Next, Gu Santong recounted his experiences in the past few years. Lin Xian sighed after hearing this. The elders of the Gu family were even more heartbroken. Such a prodigy had wandered outside without the support of a family. He had built a powerful mansion on his own and dominated the area. However, the techniques that he cultivated were limited, so he was only at the peak of the Great Saint realm. However, if no one had attacked him, he would have become a quasi-emperor. When the Gu family head saw that Gu Santong had only cultivated an ordinary mystic ability of the Gu family, he sighed even more. If he could grow to such a level with such an ordinary technique, his future would be limitless if he was given the great emperor's ancient scripture. The Gu family leader also explained some matters of the family and swore that he would do his best to nurture Gu Santong. What happened next was simple. After Gu Santong was done, he would go to the Gu family to receive the great emperor's ancient scripture. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli were also happy. The family was happy. Gu Santong even held a banquet to receive Lin Xian and the Gu family. The atmosphere was very lively. The Santong mansion was once again decorated with lanterns and streamers. The previous dull atmosphere was swept away, and the mansion was brightly lit. All sorts of laughter could be heard. On the other side, the Shueyuan clan. After Shueyuan Xiong made his move, he no longer paid attention. However, on this day, a guard came to report, "Not good. The Gu family is very happy." Happy? Shueyuan Ba heard this and sneered. Gu Santong is dead. What are they happy about? Have they gone mad? Someone said, "Gu Santong is not dead.
He seems to have been saved." Saved? Who?
Could it be that Master He's? He doesn't have that ability. Shueyuan Hao also said, "Uncle, what should we do? We can't let this old man live. Otherwise, we can't complete our plan." Shueyuan Ba said, "It's simple.
Send some people.
Since he's not dead, send him to hell." Soon, the Shueyuan clan sent their experts. 5 peak great saints, in addition to some other experts. This lineup was enough to sweep through the Santong mansion. Therefore, the Shueyuan clan was full of confidence. At the Santong mansion, a banquet was being held. It was extremely lively. However, at this moment, a thunderous voice sounded from outside. Several powerful forces pressed down, causing the faces of the Santong mansion's people to change greatly. A terrifying aura. Was an expert about to attack? Their faces were filled with shock. Such power was enough to make them unable to resist. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli were also worried. Although he had joined the Gu family now, however, they had never personally witnessed the might of a martial monarch's clan. Gu Santong's face darkened. Are these people here again? The Crimson Dragon said, "Is this the Shueyuan family you mentioned?" It was just a small clan, so he could just wipe it out. Lin Xian looked outside and said, "Don't worry about it. Let's continue. It's just a few ants." Little ant? Uncle Lin, could it be that the people from outside aren't strong enough? Lin Xian said, "Indeed, they weren't strong. There were only a few of them, and they were all at the peak of the Great Sage Realm." Was he at the peak of the Great Sage Realm an ant? Gu Yanran was stunned. Even the surrounding elders were speechless. To be honest, their mansion master was only at the peak of the Great Sage Realm. Many of them were only Saint Kings. In their eyes, the peak of the Great Sage Realm was a godlike existence. But now, in front of Lin Xian, they were just ants. Gu Yanran said, "Uncle Lin, the peak of the Great Sage Realm is very powerful. My father is at the peak of the Great Sage Realm." Lin Xian smiled. "Little girl, I didn't mean to look down on your father. Your father was limited by his cultivation technique and didn't have a more advanced technique. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just reached this level. Don't worry. After joining the Gu family, your father will cultivate the martial monarch's superpower. He will soon become a quasi-emperor and even surpass it." As they spoke, the 5 peak of the Great Sage Realm outside had already torn open the array and charged in. The martial artists of the Santong mansion couldn't resist at all. At this moment, the Gu family's mansion master made his move. He was very angry, so he personally made a move. With a wave of his hand, several spatial cracks appeared in the sky and shrouded the peak of the Great Sage Realm. In the next moment, screams sounded. The 5 peak of the Great Sage Realm were split in half by the spatial cracks and fell to the ground. The group of martial artists behind him were torn apart. With a raise of his hand, these people died. When Gu Yanran saw this scene, she exclaimed, "What a terrifying spatial law." The elders of the Santong mansion were also stupefied. These people's methods were simply like gods. Only these people? How boring. The Crimson Dragon sneered. Everyone continued to eat and chat. On the other side, the people of the Shueyuan clan were waiting for news, but what came was news of their deaths. They were really stunned. Shueyuan Hao said, "What did you say? 5 peak of the Great Sage Realm are all dead? That's impossible, right? Goose Santong had such a fan?" Shueyuan Ba also frowned. It seems that Santong has invited an expert to be his backer. No wonder he's so arrogant. But no matter how powerful he is, can he be stronger than us? The expert behind us is a supreme being. Next, I'm going to use my real trump card and invite the Array King. I want to see how the Santong mansion will withstand the Array King's attack. The banquet continued at the Santong mansion, but at this time, thunder sounded in the sky again. The people of the Santong mansion all frowned, but with Lin Xian and the others' help, they were also confident. Many people sneered. They don't know what's good for them. After this banquet, we'll destroy them.
Boom.
But at this time, the thunder in the sky streaked across and directly tore their array to pieces. Oh no! The elders' faces changed. This is an array. The thunder in the sky is an array. A master of array is coming. Above the clouds, 2 figures stood in the sky. One was an old man and the other was a young man. The old man was called the Array King and was at the level of the 5-crown king. The young man was his disciple and also a master of array. His strength was at the peak of the Great Sage Realm. The young man was called Han Qing. He said, "Master, Goose Santong of the Santong Mansion is only at the peak of the Great Sage Realm. There's no need for you to help. I'll destroy him." The Array King nodded. He was very confident in his disciple. Then, Han Qing made his move. He formed a thunder array and began to attack. Sure enough, the opponent's defense was torn apart. "I'm Han Qing, the Array King's disciple. This time, with my master's esteemed Array King here, your Santong mansion should kneel and submit." Below, the experts' faces changed when they heard this. What? The Array King? That's the Quintuple Crown King. He's at the level of a quasi-emperor. We can't stop someone like him. They were all terrified. Lin Xian sneered. Oh, again? This time, it's interesting. But he's still an ant. The quintuple crown king isn't worth my time. The Crimson Dragon said, I'll do it. He dares to play with arrays in front of me. I'll show him what a real array is. The Crimson Dragon waved its claws. Immediately, a fire array soared into the sky. Chapter 59:20. In the sky, Han Qing was still sneering. I'll give you half an hour to think. If you don't kneel down and surrender, I'll destroy your souls. As soon as he finished speaking, the fire below rushed into the sky. A fire dragon soared into the sky and directly enveloped him. Damn it! He roared and tried to resist, but in an instant, he turned into ashes. Was he dead? The people below were stunned, and the Array King's pupils shrank. His disciple was dead. He checked carefully and found that his disciple had turned into ashes. Not even a trace of him was left.
Damn it!
He roared crazily. Who is it? How dare you kill my disciple? He attacked personally. The thunder in the sky became even more terrifying. It turned into a 9-headed thunder beast, roaring to the sky. Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The entire Santong mansion was swaying in the wind and rain, and would collapse at any time. The Crimson Dragon waved its claws and immediately froze the mansion. A layer of sky appeared in the mansion, forming a defense and blocking these attacks. When the Array King in the sky saw this scene, his pupils shrank. It's an array. It seems that there is an array master below. But you're courting death if you want to compete with me in array skills. I'll let you know that my title of Array King is not for nothing. Thunder God Sword Array. The thunder in the sky kept spreading, and the array quickly condensed. Then, it turned into a giant figure, holding a giant thunder sword and slashing down.
No.
When the strong people below saw this scene, they all went crazy. This was an attack from a quasi-emperor, and it was a combined attack with a super array. Under this attack, the entire Santong mansion would be turned into ashes. They even wanted to escape. Even Gu Yanran's face was pale. They had never seen such an attack. It was completely out of their expectations. What should they do? She was anxious. Lin Xian smiled and said, Don't worry. This kind of attack is just an ant's attack. Watch. It won't cause any harm to us. The Crimson Dragon also said, Little girl, watch how Ben Huang breaks his array. The Crimson Dragon soared into the sky and roared, You dare to call yourself the Thunder God Array with this little array? Let me show you what a true lightning array formation is. He waved his claws, and a formation was formed. Above the formation, there was a terrifying thunder circling around. Then a thunder dragon was formed. Go. Tell him the power of Ray.
Boom.
The thunder dragon roared and flew forward. At the same time, the enormous lightning sword in the sky descended. The two collided. Die for me. The formation king roared, his thunderous voice resounding across the land. The thunder dragon's claws split the thunder longsword apart. At the same time, it tore the thunder giant apart. Then, it enveloped the Array King. No, what kind of formation was this? The Array King was stupefied. How could his array be broken so easily? How was this possible? Was the other party's attainment in formations even greater than his? Could the other party be a quasi-emperor as well? Was it the even more terrifying 6 Crown Kings, or 7 Crown Kings? He turned around to flee. However, in an instant, his body was torn to pieces by the lightning dragon. He couldn't accept it. He died in despair. The lightning in the sky was still spreading. The Crimson Dragon also retreated and came back. He raised his wine cup and said, Come, come, drink and eat meat. Gu Yanran asked, Uncle Divine Dragon, why don't you fight? The Crimson Dragon said, Little girl, this guy is dead. The battle is over.
Ah!
Gu Yanran was stunned, and the surrounding elders were also stunned. No way. That was the Array King, the 5 Crown Kings, with the strength of a quasi-emperor and superb formation skills. Everyone knew about the second star area. How could he have been killed so easily in one move? They waited for a long time. When the lightning outside disappeared, there was no sign of the Array King. There were only a few pieces falling from the sky. Someone exclaimed, "This is the Array King's crutch." He was really dead. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A quasi-emperor level quintuple crown king was actually killed in one move. It was too unbelievable. They felt like they were dreaming. Lin Xian put down his wine cup and said, "Is this all you've got?" He looked at the Gu clan leader and said, "You'd better make a move and capture those people from the Water Abyss clan." The Gu clan leader nodded and said, "Okay." He waved his hand and merged into the void. Gu Santong exclaimed, "Void palm." This was a unique technique. He also knew it, but he only knew the most basic. He hadn't learned the more advanced ones. At that moment, with the Gu family's clan chief using it, it was truly frightening to the extreme. The other elders were stunned. They didn't seem to have sensed anything. Gu Yanran was also stunned and wanted to ask. Gu Santong said, "Wait and see." The Water Abyss clan. Xueyuan Ba and Xueyuan Hao were waiting. This time, it should be foolproof. However, the guards in the distance were so scared that they knelt on the ground. News came from the front. The Array King was dead.
What?
Xueyuan Hao was stunned. Xueyuan Ba's pupils also dilated. Impossible. That was a quasi-emperor and a master of array formations. How could he die? Even if he couldn't beat them, he could still leave calmly. How could he die? He was going crazy. What kind of person had Gu Santong invited? Suddenly, the void above them split open. A giant palm suddenly enveloped them. Damn it! They didn't even know someone was attacking them. They wanted to resist, but it was useless. The giant palm grabbed Xueyuan Hao and Xueyuan Ba and then disappeared. The surrounding guards were scared out of their wits. What kind of technique is this? It was too terrifying. Santong Mansion. Everyone was still discussing. What happened? Suddenly, at this moment, they saw the Gu family's clan leader retract his hand. At the same time, the void split open, and two figures fell. They were Xueyuan Hao and Xueyuan Ba. The two of them should be at the Water Abyss clan now, but they were captured here. Heavens, the Water Abyss clan is very far from our mansion. Even if they flew, it would take a while. Now, they were captured? Everyone was stunned. Gu Yanran's face was also filled with shock. Was this the power of space? It's incredible. Can I learn it in the future? Yanran was excited. The leader of the Gu family said, "Of course you can. You can also learn something more advanced than this, the spatial supernatural power." Really? That's great. Gu Yanran was very happy. Shui Yuanba and Shi Yuanha regained their senses. They shouted angrily, "It's you. Let us go quickly and kowtow to us. Otherwise, you're dead." Shui Yuanhao roared, "Are you crazy?" When the toad heard this, it immediately swung its palm over and smashed Shui Yuanhao's face into pieces. Shui Yuanhao was terrified. His body was broken, and his soul was about to be extinguished. But at this time, Lin Xian waved his hand, and the power of reincarnation stared at Shui Yuanhao's soul. "It's too easy to kill you like this." Lin Xian said, "Toad, Rosalong, control your strength. Don't kill him. I still have something to ask them." "Oh, I made a mistake." Who knew he was so trash that he couldn't even block my slap? "I'll control it," Toad said with a smile. Shui Yuanhao went crazy. Who are these people? Are they gods? Why am I like an ant in front of them? Chapter 59-21. Uncle, save me. Shui Yuanhao roared crazily. "Nephew, don't worry, I'll save you." Shui Yuanba roared angrily. "You?" The Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and the others sneered disdainfully. As for Lin Xian, he directly ignored the other party. "You dare to look down on me?" Shui Yuanba roared angrily. The power of his body erupted, and the aura of a quasi-emperor spread out. So powerful, he's actually a quasi-emperor. When the elders of Santong Mansion felt this aura, they began to tremble in fear. Even Gu Santong was surprised. When did you become a quasi-emperor? There are still many things you don't know. Shuiyuan Ba smiled wryly. Gu Santong, today, all of you will die. Great uncle. Hurry up and make them suffer a fate worse than death. Next to him, Shui Yuanhao also roared ferociously. He saw hope. Shui Yuan Ba slapped out with the power of a quasi-emperor, suppressing everything.
Boom.
The toad attacked again, slapping Shui Yuan Ba to the ground. Countless cracks appeared on his body. At this moment, the world was shocked, and everyone's eyes were filled with horror. What did they see? That was a quasi-emperor. How terrifying. He was actually knocked down with a single slap and was completely powerless to fight back. Too weak. The toad shook his head. Is there anyone stronger? Shui Yuanhao was so scared that he couldn't speak. Shui Yuan Ba was also stunned. After a long time, he screamed, "You dare to hurt me?" The toad slapped the other party until his face was smashed. Hurt you? I still want to torture you. The Crimson Dragon also made a move, torturing Shui Yuan Ba until he was half dead. But this power did not kill the other party. This made Shui Yuan Ba feel as if he had fallen into hell. That kind of despair made him go crazy. Let me go, or you're dead. The toad sneered. Dead? Your Shui Yuan clan is just trash in front of me. Presumptuous. Do you know who is behind our clan? Let me tell you, it's a supreme. Can you afford to offend him? A supreme can kill you 100 times with one finger. Supreme martial artist. The people of Santong Mansion were stunned. Even the toad and the Crimson Dragon were stunned. They all looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. You said supreme martial artist. What supreme martial artist?
He was also surprised.
He didn't expect that a small water abyss clan from the second astral realm would have connections with a supreme being. This really surprised him. Kid, why are you scared? If you're afraid, kneel down and kowtow to me. If I'm satisfied, I can let you die a quick death. Otherwise, offending me is equivalent to offending the utmost exalted. You can't bear the consequences. The surrounding people were also terrified. No matter how powerful Lin Xian and the others were, could they stand a chance against a martial saint? Back then, Jizun was an existence that swept across the universe. If a great emperor didn't appear, who could suppress Jizun? Therefore, they were all afraid. When Lin Xian heard this, he laughed out loud. You still dare to threaten me? Not to mention you, even if a supreme martial artist really came. You don't dare to be arrogant in front of me. It can't be, right? Even a supreme martial artist had to bow his head in front of the other party. What was the identity of this young man? The surrounding people were shocked. Shui Yuan Ba, however, roared crazily. You're courting death, kid. Even if you're pretending, you shouldn't pretend in front of a supreme martial artist. If you dare to offend a supreme martial artist, you'll definitely feel worse than death. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly, too lazy to talk nonsense with the other party. The reincarnation light in his eyes enveloped the other party's soul. Shui Yuan Ba still wanted to clamor, but when he saw the other party's eyes, he was stunned. His soul trembled. At this moment, he directly knelt down. Oh God, what kind of eyes were these? This eyes, as if a god was looking at him. He didn't have any power to resist at all. Until now, his heart was incomparably terrified. He was already a quasi-emperor, but he was suppressed and had no power to fight back. Who exactly was this young man? Then, under the Rinnegan eye, Shui Yuan Ba's eyes rolled back, and his soul didn't resist at all. Not long after, he fell down. Lin Xian retracted his gaze with a strange expression. Next to him, the Crimson Dragon asked, Kid, how is it? Can you tell which supreme martial artist it is? Lin Xian shook his head. No, this guy doesn't seem to be the leader of the Water Abyss clan. I only know that there is a supreme martial artist. But who exactly is it?
He didn't know yet.
He also had an elder brother who was the real leader of the Water Abyss clan. There was another one? He could just grab him directly. The Gu clan's patriarch was ready to use the Great Void handprint again. However, Lin Xian said, "This time, I'm going to go personally. After all, it's possible that a supreme martial artist will appear. I also want to know which supreme martial artist it is." Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely sharp light. Interesting. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad were excited. The Gu clan is also willing to go. After Gu Yanran and the others heard this, their eyes were even more fiery. "Dad, let's go too?" Gu Santong nodded, and the group prepared to go. Water Origin Clan. As for Shueyuan Ba and Shueyuan Hao, they were directly suppressed by the Toad. The group took the two of them into the air and flew into the distance. Water Origin Clan. At this moment, they were also extremely frightened. Patriarch, not good, the young master is missing. The second leader is also missing. Countless terrified voices were heard. The powerhouses of the Water Origin Clan all came to the front of the secret chamber, and they knelt on the ground, shouting nonstop. In the secret chamber, Shueyuan Xiong opened his eyes, his brows tightly knitted together. What happened? How dare you disturb my cultivation? However, when he heard the situation outside, he instantly walked out of the secret chamber. What did you say? How is missing? Shueyuan Ba is also missing? These two, one was his son, the other was his younger brother. How could they disappear? Especially his younger brother, who is already a quasi-emperor. He didn't know. He only knew that in the sky, a large palm suddenly appeared and grabbed them away. Great Void handprint. After Shueyuan Xiong heard this, his brows tightly knitted together. This is a spatial supernatural power. Could it be the Gu clan? He had always suspected that behind Gu Santong was a great emperor clan. He didn't expect that it was really as he guessed. Soon, he snorted coldly. So what if it's the Gu clan? I have a supreme being behind me. I'm not afraid of them. How dare they capture my younger brother and son? I'll make them pay a painful price. He prepared to go to the Santong mansion. However, at this moment, in the sky, there was a sudden clap of thunder. Then, dark clouds covered the city, and the entire sky and earth darkened. Countless people felt an oppressive pressure. The powerhouses of the Water Origin Clan looked up at the sky, their faces full of fear. What's going on? Is a storm coming? Is it night? Shueyuan Xiong looked up at the sky. It's a dark and windy night, a good time to kill. Gu Santong, you're still alive after being hit by the blood fiend centipede. You're really lucky. But this time, I'll take your life with my own hands. A biting, cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He waved his hand, ready to attack. However, at this moment, the Water Origin Clan began to shake violently. Someone outside screamed, "Oh no. Patriarch, someone broke in. They broke our formation." What's going on? Shueyuan Xiong was stunned. Who is it? They don't know what's good for them. How dare they come to my clan and behave so atrociously? Chapter 59-22. Rumbling sounds rang out as the array kept shattering. In the next moment, they saw a group of people walk in. The leader was a young man, and beside him were two strange-looking beasts. Behind him was a large group of people. These people were very fast, and it didn't take long for them to reach the front. Everyone turned their gazes to the front. They didn't recognize the unfamiliar youth in front. But when they saw Gu Santong, they cried out in surprise. Shui Yuanxing's pupils shrank. Gu Santong, you're completely healed? He looked as if he had seen a ghost. After being hit by the bloodbath centipede, even if he didn't die, it was impossible for him to recover so quickly. But now, Gu Santong's energy was surging, and he wasn't injured at all. This was completely different from what he had expected. What was going on? Gu Santong also walked out. He said, "You framed me and wanted to take over my mansion. That's impossible. Just give up. Are you threatening me? Ha ha ha. Who do you think you are? How dare you threaten me?" Shui Yuanxing snorted and suddenly attacked.
Die.
Shui Yuanxing was even more terrifying. He was a quasi-emperor and a six-crown king. His strength was very strong. His palm reached Gu Santong's side in an instant. Santong still hadn't moved, but a spatial crack appeared beside him. It directly swallowed the power. Spatial power. What a terrifying power. This isn't your power. Shui Wangxing cried out in surprise. He stared at an elder behind Gu Santong and frowned. You attacked just now, didn't you? Are you from the Void Gu family? Yes, I am from the Gu family. Santong is also a disciple of the Gu family. You attacked the Gu family. Have you thought of the consequences? Kneel, kowtow, and admit your guilt. So, what if you're from the Gu family? Since you dare to come, I'll send you to hell. With a wave of his hand, the surrounding experts rushed over in an overwhelming manner. As long as the order was given, they would attack. At this time, the Toad and the Crimson Dragon walked out. The Toad said, Old thing, don't you want your son and brother to live? He waved his claws and Shu Yunha and Shui Yuanba screamed crazily. Father, save me. Elder brother, kill them and call Jizun over. Damn it, let them go. Shui Yuan Xiong was furious. Looks like you guys are courting death. Originally, I didn't want to use some of my trump cards. However, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Shui Yuan Xiong waved his hand and said, Open that array formation for me. Hearing this, the surrounding elders nodded their heads. Then, with a flash of their bodies, they disappeared. At the same time, the entire mansion began to shake violently. 9 pillars shot up into the sky. It was a pillar of light that carried a black aura. When it appeared, it was as if the gates of hell had been opened. Countless people felt fear and despair.
What?
Gu Santong's pupils shrank. Gu Yanran and Lu Ruoli both had pale faces. If they hadn't witnessed it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have known how terrifying the Aqua tribe was. It was far beyond their expectations. Fortunately, Lin Xian and the others had arrived. If they did not come, even if they were given 10 lives, they would not be able to contend against the other party. Thinking of this, they broke out in cold sweat. Haha, what do you think?
Did you see that?
This is the true power of the Aqua tribe.
So what if you have more people?
So, what if you have the Gu tribe? This power is enough to kill you all.
Charge.
The 9 pillars of light rushed over. The terrifying aura of death formed a sea of death that covered the sky and the earth. The experts from the Gu clan also frowned. This power caused them to be alarmed. This Water Abyss clan was truly not simple. The Gu tribe leader snorted. He wanted to join forces. However, at this moment, Lin Xian waved his sleeve and the Taiji diagram flew out. It spun in front of him. The Taiji diagram gave birth to yin and yang. The yin and yang fish spun continuously, sucking in all the aura of death. In the next moment, the yin and yang fish swallowed all the aura of death. The world returned to its original calm. How could this be? The Aqua tribe elders in the distance were terrified. They had experienced how terrifying the aura of death was. Even a quasi-emperor would definitely die here. Yet that young man had managed to block it so easily. What was going on? How did you do it? Even Aqua Yuanxiong was terrified. This was just a casual attack from me. Was it that difficult? Lin Xian waved his sleeve again. The Taiji diagram spun in reverse, and the yin and yang fish exploded. The aura of death that had just been absorbed surged out wildly. He was giving them a taste of their own medicine. Immediately, it covered the entire Aqua tribe. The geniuses, experts, and elders of the Aqua tribe all screamed crazily. No, my leg has turned into a pile of bones. Help, please. My life force is draining away.
Who can help me?
Many people ran away. However, under the aura of death, they turned into bones one by one. In the blink of an eye, countless experts died. Only Aqua Yuanxiong was left standing in front. Aqua Yuanhao and Aqua Yuanba were completely terrified when they saw this scene. They were all dead. What kind of technique was this? They trembled. Even Aqua Yuanxiong's pupils shrank. What a good technique. I didn't expect to meet such a powerful young man here. However, it's a pity that you're up against me. Young man, are you ready to die? As his voice fell, the power in his body completely erupted. A terrifying wave of the law of water swept across the surroundings. The sea roared as if it had turned into a sea god. The endless sword of the sea rushed over in an overwhelming manner. This was a fatal blow that terrified the people on the other side. The people of the Gu family were also prepared to create a large crack to resist. However, Lin Xian sent out a palm strike toward him. The golden palm was like a sun god that evaporated all the seawater. Countless laws of water disappeared in front of him. The slap penetrated all the divine abilities. It hit Aqua Yuanxiong. Aqua Yuanxiong was sent flying and torn into pieces.
Puff.
He vomited a large mouthful of blood and was dumbfounded. The pain almost drove him crazy. The Sword of the Sea was his ultimate technique. It was the power that he had cultivated for countless years. However, in front of this young man, it was so weak. Damn it, impossible! He roared crazily. However, his body was already smashed and he couldn't muster any strength. What did you do to me? He was terrified beyond belief. Did the other party send him flying with one move? In the next moment, his soul let out a shrill voice. Why aren't you attacking? Everyone was stunned.
Who was he talking to?
There was no one else in the Aqua clan. All of a sudden, the void split open and two beams of light shot out rapidly. In an instant, they charged towards Lin Xian. They were extremely fast, and their strength was far beyond Aqua Yuanxiong's. Gu Santong and the others were stunned. Did the Aqua clan still have such a hidden expert?
Boom.
Two extremely terrifying laws rushed towards Lin Xian's head. Lin Xian laughed coldly. He clenched his hand into a fist and punched out. With a boom, the sea was instantly pierced through. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The void in front of Lin Xian was completely shattered. It couldn't withstand the power of this punch. The two figures were also sent flying. Their bodies shattered and turned into a bloody mist. Chapter 59-23. The Two Young Masters. They were injured. Shui Wangxing cried out in horror when he saw this scene. These two people were stronger than him, and their identities were more terrifying than his. They were the two disciples of a supreme being, but they were shattered by a single punch. The two people also roared crazily. They turned into black and red blood mists, which were abnormally ferocious. I can't gather my strength. Damn it. What did you do to me? These two people were crazy. They came out strong, but before they showed up, they were crippled. This feeling made them despair.
Kid, who are you?
The black mist next to them, surrounded by black blood, roared crazily. We are the disciples of a supreme being. You crippled us, which means you are an enemy of the supreme being. Kneel down, cripple your own arms, kowtow, and wait for the supreme being to punish you. No one in the world can save you. Another patch of red blood mist also let out a resentful voice. Were the disciples of a supreme being very powerful? Lin Xian walked forward. Even your master wouldn't dare to be so arrogant to me here. Impossible? How dare you challenge my master? The two people roared crazily. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at the two people. Immediately, their souls cracked. It was 10 times worse than before. How could your soul be so powerful? Impossible. Your soul is almost comparable to a supreme being.
Who are you?
Could it be that you are also a supreme being? They were all crazy. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. To be honest, this surprised him. The two punches just now should be able to kill these three people. However, these three people, on the verge of death, actually came back to life. Although they were injured, they didn't die. Even though Lin Xian had gone easy on them, they weren't the only ones who could withstand it. This showed that there was a force in these three people that saved their lives. This force should be the supreme being behind them. Lin Xian tested it with a glance just now. It was a bit similar to the power of reincarnation. However, it was not exactly the same. So, what kind of power was it? He wasn't sure yet. However, he did not mind it at all. All he had to do was to find that utmost exalted. Lin Xian glanced at him again and cast a soul illusion. He said indifferently, if I attack you now, Would your supreme being dare to come out? The two of them were extremely miserable. Xueyuan Xiong, who was at the back, was terrified. He was still so arrogant after torturing the supreme martial artist's disciple like this. Was this fellow really not afraid of supreme martial artists? Damn it, my master won't forgive you. Master, please come out and kill him. The two of them howled miserably. From the depths of their souls, a signal for help was sent out.
Whoosh.
In the distance, a sinister wind suddenly blew, causing people to tremble and even their souls to sway. The people from the Gu family also exclaimed, "What a terrifying aura! What is it?" Gu Yanran said, "Could it be that the gates of hell have opened?" She hid behind Gu Santong. Everyone's hair stood on end. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. In front of them, a group of people walked out. These people wore ancient armor and held ancient weapons in their hands. They quickly walked over. Wherever they passed, it was extremely cold. These were Yin soldiers. After seeing this, the toad exclaimed. The Crimson Dragon also gasped, "Why are we seeing this kind of thing again? What kind of force was behind this water abyss clan? How did they get involved with the Yin soldiers?" At this time, another figure appeared. 4 Yin soldiers, carrying a palanquin, floated over. The palanquin was white and extremely miserable, making one's scalp tingle at a glance. However, the two blood mists exclaimed, "Master! It's Master! It's great! Master, please save me! Master, kill him and capture this kid. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death." A cold snort came from the white palanquin. "Useless trash! You've embarrassed me." The two blood mists were so frightened that they did not dare to speak again. "Although you are trash, you are still my disciples. My disciples can only be taught by me. No one else is allowed to interfere. Whoever makes a move will have their hands chopped off." With an order, a Yin soldier in front suddenly pulled out a long saber. The black long saber slashed down at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there and did not move at all. He let the saber slash down and hit his body, making a sky-shaking sound. The long saber broke, and the Yin soldier who attacked was knocked back, cracks appearing on his body. "What a strong physique!" Countless people exclaimed, and even the person in the palanquin was surprised. "No wonder you are so arrogant. It turns out that you are a body refinement master. However, no matter how strong you are you my opponent?" He waved his hand, and more Yin soldiers walked up. However, Lin Xian said, pretending to be mysterious, "Get out here." He stretched out the 9-yang big hand and grabbed forward. Above the palm, there was a bright fire of the sun. It melted all the cold aura. The whole world turned into a world of flames. Those Yin soldiers were also sent flying backward and turned into ashes one by one. And this palm tore the palanquin into pieces. The person inside roared, "Get out of here." He did not expect Lin Xian to be so arrogant and powerful that he could destroy his Yin soldiers. The person inside shot out a black shadow, which collided with Lin Xian's palm. Then, the shadow retreated, and Lin Xian also withdrew his palm. He looked up. "I want to see what kind of ghost you are." He frowned when he saw it. Behind him, Gu Yanran and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. It turned out that this was a short old man, very short. However, he was dressed in black, and his body was covered with skeletons. His eyes were blood red. It made people scared at a glance. Not to mention Gu Yanran, such a girl. Even the patriarch of the Gu family gasped. "What the hell is this? Kid, who are you? Do you know the consequences of going against me?" The old man who came out stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. "What consequences?" The old man's face was hideous. Lin Xian laughed with his hands behind his back. "Really? My name is Lin Wudi. Try to attack me."
What?
"You are Lin Wudi." The old man's pupils shrank. This name seemed to have magical power. Shui Yuanxiong and the others almost fainted in fear. The two clouds of blood mist also roared in horror. "You are the legendary Lin Wudi. Why are you here?" They were truly terrified. Even the people from Santong Mansion were astonished. Lin Wuti, the legendary successor of the Nine Sons. It was said that he had hunted down the great emperor and defeated a supreme master. God, he is actually a friend of our mansion master. No wonder he is so strong. No wonder he looks down on a supreme master. It turns out that he is Lin Wuti. This Uncle Lin is Lin Wuti? Gu Yanran was also stunned. She only knew the name Lin Xian, but now she also knew the title of Lin Xian. Her father knew such a master. It seemed that her father used to be a great genius. Lin Xian looked forward and said, "Yes, I am Lin Wuti. Do you want to fight with me?" The old man in black looked strange. He suddenly sneered. "So, it is Daoist Lin. It is really a misunderstanding. My two disciples didn't know the difference between life and death. They offended you, so they deserve to be crippled. How about this? Our grudges are written off. How about it?" Chapter 59-24. Their grudges were written off. When the people around heard this, they were all stunned. Was this what a supreme being should say? Shouldn't a supreme being be able to sweep through the 8 wastelands and be fearless of everything?
Why?
In front of this young man, he actually retreated? The 2 blood mists were stunned. Their master bowed his head to someone for the first time, which made them feel unreal. After Lin Xian heard this, he laughed. "You come and go as you please. Don't you think it's a bit ridiculous?" The black-clothed old man, Netherworld Prime, darkened his face and said, "Then what do you want? Leave something, and I'll let you go." "Leave what?" "Leave your hands, get out of here, and don't let me see you again," Lin Xian said coldly. Netherworld Prime's pupils shrank, telling him to break his own arms. "Damn it, you've gone too far. Lin Wuti, you're too arrogant. I give you face, but it doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. You'd better take back what you said, or you'll have to bear the consequences." Lin Xian snorted coldly and took a step forward. "I think you're the one who doesn't know life from death." He threw out a punch. Nine Suns' divine fist. The fist was like the sun, filling the sky and the earth with flames. The boundless aura made everyone incomparably terrified. Humph! Netherworld Prime, with a wave of his sleeve, also shot out black sea water to swallow the flames. Water and fire were tit for tat, and the 2 laws collided in the air, separating the universe. "You have some ability, but it's not enough. I've defeated more than one supreme being. Show me your true strength, otherwise, you're not my opponent. If you want to see my true ability, I'll fulfill your wish." Netherworld Prime also knew that the young man in front of him was not easy to deal with. After all, he had a Mahayana divine body. With a wave of his right hand, a red pen appeared in his hand, and in his left hand, it condensed into a piece of black paper. "Lin Wuti, open your eyes wide and look carefully. How are you going to die?" The red pen in his hand seemed to drip blood, and he wrote the word Lin on the black paper.
Boom.
Thunder sounded from the 9th heaven. The sky fell and the earth cracked, and the wind and clouds surged. Lin Xian seemed to have been hit by an unknown force. He actually retreated. "What happened?" the Crimson Dragon exclaimed. The members of the Gu family were also stunned. Was the power that suddenly appeared a spatial divine ability? The leader of the Gu family shook his head. It was not a spatial divine ability. It was another, more mysterious power. Lin Xian frowned as well. In the next instant, the Netherworld sovereign in front of him started writing again. Lin Xian felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He kept retreating, and cracks were about to appear on his body. At this time, the toad exclaimed, "This is the power of a curse. Kid, he's cursing you." Everyone exclaimed, "Curse, what a strange power." Lin Xian also frowned. Netherworld sovereign sneered, "Lin Wuti, you are powerful, but there are also strong and weak supremes. Furthermore, I'm not someone you can imagine." The 2 balls of blood mist laughed proudly. "Kid, you're no match for master. Kneel down, kowtow, and submit. To deal with you, Ji Zun took out the judgment pen and the book of life and death. What are you going to use to resist? Judge's pen, Book of Life and Death. Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian's eyes also flickered. It was the other party's paper and pen. However, the words Book of Life and Death were too shocking. Wasn't this the legendary Book of Life and Death in the hands of the King of Hell? Anyone who was on the Book of Life and Death would die without a doubt. Kid, I only wrote one word, Lin, and you can't stand it. When I write your full name, you will really go to hell. Do you still dare to compete with me? Lin Xian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and smiled. The power of a curse is just SOSO. I'd like to see if you really have the legendary Book of Life and Death. Stepping on flames, he charged over like a bolt of lightning, charging towards the Nether Sovereign. Courting death, the Netherworld Sovereign put down the pen again, and the power of the mysterious curse rushed over. Lin Xian was shocked. But at this time, the dragon-shaped sword energy rushed out of his body.
Cut for me.
The sword slashed into the void. Thunder erupted between heaven and earth. Lin Xian retreated, and that mysterious power was blocked by him. You actually blocked it. The two clouds of blood mist were shocked. Shui Yuanxiong was also dumbfounded. This is impossible? They were all scared silly. The Netherworld Sovereign was also stunned. No one could block the power of the judge's pen and the Book of Life and Death. Go to hell. He frantically put down the pen. Blood kept spreading in the void, and the terrifying power rushed towards Lin Xian, wanting to take away Lin Xian's vitality. Lin Xian shouted coldly, and countless sword energy rushed out of his body. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a flaming sword god. The sharp sword light surrounded him and slashed at the unknown power. The sound of thunder kept ringing. Lin Xian really blocked it. He sneered. Just SOSO. What a terrifying sword energy. The Netherworld Sovereign's face was cold. Damn it. Don't be complacent. He bit his finger and let his blood pour into the judge's pen. The judge's pen suddenly burst out. An endless blood-red light seemed to have descended from the sea of blood. The robe on the Netherworld Sovereign's body fluttered. His short stature seemed to have grown taller at this moment, causing everyone to look up at him. Gathering all his strength, he said, Lin Wudi, die. This time, the power of the curse between heaven and earth was even more terrifying. The grayish-white aura kept rushing towards Lin Xian. Retreat. The people around were also terrified. They also felt that the vitality in their bodies was disappearing. The method was too terrifying. The toad shouted coldly and shot out poisonous fog, covering heaven and earth to resist. They retreated to the distance. Kid, be careful.
Slash.
Lin Xian flicked his finger, and the god-slaying sword flew out. The long sword carried endless murderous intent, causing the void to collapse. Lin Xian held the god-slaying sword. Suddenly, the long sword hummed, and a sword light spread out in the air. The entire void was split into two halves. Countless people were shocked. What a terrifying power. Gu Santong and the others were also surprised. Is this the power of the great dragon sword? It's terrifying.
Boom.
In the sky, the grayish-white curse power was cut in half by the sword and kept rolling in the air. Lin Xian was too strong, making Netherworld Prime keep retreating. His face instantly turned pale, and he even spat out a mouthful of blood, staining the Book of Life and Death. Master? The two clouds of blood fog exclaimed. Shui Yuanxiong was even more shocked. Senior, are you okay? Did the other party injure a prime? He was scared silly. What a sharp sword. The Netherworld Sovereign sucked in a breath of cold air. His expression became incomparably solemn. No one of the other party was so arrogant before. The other party had the power of 10 Crown King. This power, even a prime might not be able to block. In the heavens and the earth, the endless creatures, the powerhouses of the universe, are all at my disposal. The Netherworld Sovereign let out a cold shout as he opened up a Netherworld passage. Suddenly, from inside, endless white bones walked out. These were the powerhouses who had died in the past, summoned by him with a peerless great ability. "Who is it? How dare you summon me?" There were even a few voices that were extremely terrifying, and they were not convinced at all. Netherworld Prime, holding a page of the Book of Life and Death, roared to the sky, "I have a page of the Book of Life and Death. Listen to my orders." "Book of Life and Death? You are from the underworld." A loud voice resounded through heaven and earth. "Okay, today I will make a move for the sake of the underworld." Chapter 59:25. A loud and clear voice rang out, causing everyone to be alarmed. Just what kind of existence did the Netherworld Sovereign summon? In the next moment, a palm appeared in the sky. There was a mysterious light blooming on that palm. As the palm slammed down, the whole world was shattering. Netherworld Sovereign sneered, and he also cooperated with this palm attack. At the same time, the ghost soldiers that he summoned in the surroundings were even more overwhelming. This kind of attack was too terrifying, enough to frighten any powerhouse. Even the powerhouses of the Goo family in the distance were pale. Fortunately, Toad now had the strength of a pseudo-emperor. He used his physique to block these auras. Together with the people of the Goo family, they cast Void Exile. Only by hiding in space did they manage to block this power. Toad shouted, "Kid, do you need my help?" "No, I can handle it. You protect them. Okay?" Toad nodded. Because some of the ghost soldiers were rushing towards them, they were sent flying by Toad, with a few slaps. However, more ghost soldiers rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. The powerhouse that was summoned was extremely terrifying. What kind of powerhouse was it? But this palm was too shocking, enough to shake the universe. Lin Xian used the Nine Suns God. Boundless divine fire and terrifying light enveloped the Een soldiers and refined them. He waved his long sword, using a heaven-defying sword technique. The sword was like a dragon, colliding with the terrifying palm in the sky. It erupted with unparalleled power. He was hit so hard that he kept swaying. Netherworld's sovereign rushed to Lin Xian's back. "It's useless, kid. You can't resist." Lin Xian snorted coldly. The power of his body tore apart heaven and earth, and he repelled Netherworld Sovereign. At this time, the big palm in the sky and the powerhouses summoned in the surroundings rushed over again, as if they would not stop until they were dead. Lin Xian was also angry. "Dead people, don't jump in front of me." 6 Paths of Reincarnation.
Boom.
The Eye of Reincarnation bloomed, and the power of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation appeared. The 6 Paths of Reincarnation swept across the 8 wastelands. At this moment, the Een soldiers were reduced to ashes. The summoned masters also exclaimed, "The power of reincarnation? No, damn it, who are you?" The experts were enveloped by the light of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation and disappeared. All that was left was the terrifying giant hand in the sky. A loud voice rang out, "Hell, who exactly are you going against? Why did he possess the power of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation?" Even the Netherworld Sovereign was stunned. "You actually have the Rinnegan." He sucked in a cold breath. He said, "Don't worry, he only has 1 Rinnegan, and it seems that he has the 3 paths of heaven, earth, and man. Our underworld is not threatened by him. Only heaven, earth, and man." "All right, I'll continue to attack." The terrifying palm fell mercilessly. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Samsara sword." The phantom of the reincarnation sword burst out and charged toward the terrifying giant hand. The terrifying hand was pierced through, and the light on it dimmed. "Damn, did you cultivate Rinnegan to such a level?" He was shocked. Lin Xian snorted coldly, "The good show has just begun." Another sword slashed out. The immortal killing sword, combined with the power of the great dragon sword soul, slashed out. Heaven-defying sword technique, sword Chi Galaxy. This sword, like the water of the Milky Way, swept out, turning into countless sharp small swords, piercing through heaven and earth. It completely tore apart the giant hand, making it unable to heal. This was the aura of the great dragon sword. The terrifying giant hand finally panicked. Hell, the deal with you is over. I won't attack again. After that, he quickly disappeared. You're not allowed to leave. The Netherworld Sovereign was also angry. Lin Xian's strength had exceeded his expectations. If it weren't for the giant hand, he might not have been able to withstand Lin Xian's attacks. He took out the page of the Book of Life and Death and said, I order you not to leave. The giant hand was also angry. Humph, who do you think you are? It's not the complete Book of Life and Death, just one page. You can't order me. Whoosh. After saying that, the big hand disappeared. It seemed that it had escaped very quickly. Damn it. The Netherworld Sovereign went crazy. Lin Xian also laughed. It seems that your supernatural power doesn't work. His eyes were full of disdain, but he was surprised. From the conversation just now, he learned that the Book of Life and Death should be a book, and the Netherworld Sovereign in front of him only had one page. Then, who had the other pages? Moreover, this guy claimed to be from hell. Which hell was he from? Was it the hell that he knew? He sucked in a breath of cold air. The Heavenly Court, Hell, and the Human World, the three major assassin organizations. Among them, the Heavenly Court was known to be a force in the God realm. On one side, it was responsible for the sleeping Great Emperor. On the other hand, it trained some experts to assassinate the enemy. The Human World was not clear about it. Who would have thought that the underworld would surface as well? Could it be related to the Paragons? It was really surprising. It seemed that these great emperors and supremes had really set up too many tricks. But so what? Lin Xian pointed his sword forward and said in a deep voice, What other tricks do you have? Show them. Netherworld's Sovereign gritted his teeth. He attacked again, summoning some ancient, resentful spirits. The broken souls charged over. Lin Xian's fist shattered everything. Reincarnation destroyed everything, and sword energy swept everything. Netherworld Sovereign spat out a mouthful of blood. He gritted his teeth, turned into black smoke, and disappeared between heaven and earth. Kid, just you wait. It won't end like this. You offended our Supreme Palace. You will die without a doubt. Wanna run? Lin Xian struck out a few more times, and the invincible sword energy slashed over. In the void, there was a scream, and blood flowed down, piercing through the void. You're dead. Someone from the Supreme Palace will come soon. They won't let you go. Did he run away? The people of Santong Mansion were shocked. The dignified Supremes, the existence that swept the universe back then, were actually beaten away by Lin Xian. It was too unbelievable. Lin Xian's brows were tightly furrowed. What was the Supreme Hall? Wasn't the other party from hell? Why did another one appear? Supreme Palace? Do you know? Lin Xian turned around and looked at the people of the Gu family, as well as the Toad. The patriarch of the Gu family said, when the dark battle happened, the ancestor seemed to have said it. Behind the immortal Supremes, there was a huge force. And there was indeed more than one Supremes who attacked back then. But as for the force behind them, was it the Supreme Palace? We don't know. The Toad also shook its head. I'm not too sure either. Lin Xian, on the other hand, frowned. It seemed that the Void Emperor knew something back then. Could it be that there was a huge force behind these Supremes? The Supreme Hall? Judging from the name, it should be a force formed by gathering a group of Supremes. This shocked Lin Xian. If it really existed, then it was no weaker than the Nirvana realm. Even if it wasn't comparable to the Nirvana realm, it wasn't much different. After all, there was more than one great emperor in the Nirvana realm, and more than one Supremes in the Supreme Palace. In addition, there was also a group of great emperors in the Divine Realm on their side. Lin Xian was shocked. Not only that, Dalong said, You guessed right. The Immortal Supremes also belonged to the Supreme Palace. However, back then, it wasn't a tripartite confrontation. There were other great emperors who formed forces. It was just that it was destroyed later. And the Nirvana realm snatched the Eternal Land and became even more terrifying. No one could compete with him. Chapter 59:26. There were so many secrets from the primordial age. Lin Xian was shocked. Who else could it be? De Long said, "Let me tell you something else. The Yuhua immortal dynasty used to be a giant, no weaker than the Supreme Palace." The Yuhua immortal dynasty? Lin Xian was shocked. The existence that wanted to ascend to immortality was indeed terrifying. However, no matter how terrifying it was destroyed. Was it done by the Otherworld Heavenly King? The Otherworld Heavenly King was too powerful. Didn't the others join forces? If the Supreme Palace, the Realm of the Gods, and the Yuhua Immortal Dynasty joined forces, they would be able to defeat the Otherworld Heavenly King. De Long said, "It's not as simple as you think. These emperors were all arrogant and unruly. Gathering them together was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. In addition, the Otherworld Heavenly King had the Eternal Land, which contained the secret to becoming an immortal. Even the other giants were jealous. Therefore, there were countless battles, betrayals, and conspiracies in the past. It was extremely complicated. But now, we've managed to occupy a city in the Celestial Land. If we can conquer the Heavenly Land, we'll have a chance. This time, we'll have a great chance of winning." Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seemed that he would have to go to the Heavenly Land after the Gu family's matter was settled. He had to help his father, Lord Alcohol, and the others to conquer the Heavenly Land as soon as possible. This way, they would have the capital to fight against the Otherworld Heavenly King. Moreover, he had the Eternal Land in his body. This time, they could definitely defeat the Otherworld Heavenly King. Let's go back. Lin Xian killed Shuiyuan Xiong and the others. The Shuiyuan clan had been destroyed. Gu Santong led his family back to the Gu family. They cultivated the emperor's ancient scripture. Lin Xian and the others returned to rest for a few days before moving out separately. On this day, before they even left, an invitation flew into the Santong residence. A loud voice came. The Elixir King was holding a banquet and invited the families of the Second Starfield. They had to come to the Elixir King Mountain in 3 days. Those who didn't come would be killed. The voice was loud and decisive. It made one's scalp tingle. When the people from Santong Mansion heard this, they immediately frowned. Gu Yanran was even angrier. "Humph, what pill king, he's too arrogant." Back then, when I asked for medicine for my father, not only did they refuse to give it to me, they even wanted to kill us. Gu Santong, Lu Ruoli, and the others had all heard of this matter. Thus, when he saw the invitation, his face turned cold. "Forget it. Let's not bother with them. We have to return anyway." Gu Santong shook his head. However, Lin Xian sneered, "How can I ignore you? They're too arrogant. Although you've left, your residence is still here." What would they do to your residence? Indeed. The surrounding elders all had worried looks on their faces. Gu Santong said, "What do you mean?" Lin Xian said, "He tried to kill Yanran before. Yanran is my niece. I will avenge you. Let's go and take a look. What right does this pill king have to be so arrogant?" "That's right, to take revenge." Gu Yanran also waved her small fists. She was a kind person, but this time, she was also very angry. If Lin Xian hadn't come before, she would have been killed by the people of Pill King Mountain. Therefore, she had to take revenge. Everyone set off for Pill King Mountain. Not only Santong Prefecture, but many families and sects in the Second Galaxy also received the invitation. Immediately, they all took action. No one dared to offend the Pill King. Pill King, Six Crown King. He was very powerful, and his attainments in alchemy were even more terrifying. Also, he was from the deity ground. They didn't dare to offend him. Therefore, they had to give him face. Countless families and sects set off for Pill King Mountain. Pill King Mountain was very lively at the moment. Many families and sects had arrived. When they learned that not only them, but also some people from the deity ground had come, they were all stunned. These families and sects were all stunned. This Elixir King was incredible. I heard that his master is Nine Crown King. He's also a terrifying existence in the deity ground. Therefore, these people would give him face. So that was the case. Nine-Crown King was in existence second only to great emperors. Countless people were envious. They wondered how many elites from the deity ground had come this time. The people of the King of Elixir Mountain were incomparably arrogant. Among them, a young woman said coldly, "Listen up. Later, if you see people from Santong Prefecture, immediately stop them and beat them up." "Don't worry, senior sister. We understand." The surrounding guards' eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. The black-haired woman snorted. More than a dozen elites from King Mountain had died before, and that was when Gu Yanran had arrived. There must be some relationship between the two. Therefore, they had to catch the people from Santong Prefecture and ask them.
Whoosh.
In the void, light flashed, and a group of people walked over. This time, most of them were young people. Those from the Gu family didn't come. After all, Lin Xian was enough to suppress everything. Lin Xian, Gu Santong, Lu Ruoli, and Gu Yanran. Other than them, there was no one else. Gu Yanran came to King Mountain again with a complicated expression. She said, "These people from King Mountain are very arrogant." Gu Santong also sighed. In order to save him, his daughter didn't hesitate to kneel and beg the people from King Mountain. However, she was almost killed, which made him angry. The Crimson Dragon said, "Don't worry, we will avenge you." The group moved forward quickly. There were quite a lot of people. The toad looked around and sneered. "Stop, who are you? Do you have an invitation?" The guard in front shouted coldly. "We're not a place where anyone can come and go as they please. Open your dog eyes." The toad threw the invitation over. A guard caught it and took a closer look. It was people from Santong Prefecture. A trace of cold, murderous intent appeared in their eyes. "You're finally here. Kneel down obediently and surrender." It was this woman before. "You're from the Gu family. Why do you think more than a dozen elites from King Mountain died?" Many people stared at Gu Yanran. Gu Yanran's expression changed. The toad slapped out with a slap. With his previous experience, he controlled his power and only shattered their bodies. He didn't kill them. These people screamed in the air. "How dare you attack us? Captain, come quickly." Soon, a group of people flew down from the King Mountain. The leader of the group was clad in battle armor and wielded a spear in his hand, giving him an imposing aura. After he arrived, he shouted coldly, "Suppress the people of the Gu family." The surrounding array flickered, and the laws filled the air. The people of the other families and sects retreated. They were terrified. What's going on? Did Santong Prefecture offend King Mountain? They're too reckless. Santong Prefecture is powerful, but it can't be compared with King Mountain. I heard that the master of Santong Prefecture failed the tribulation. He's not dead yet. All kinds of discussions were heard. The guards of King Mountain had already rushed over. "You want to suppress us?" The Crimson Dragon roared. The dragon's roar shook the sky, and the people around were shattered. The guards who came over were directly sent flying. They were torn apart and turned into a bloody mist. This scene shocked countless people. What a master. They're crazy. They're dead for sure. Chapter 59-27. This scene terrified countless people in the surroundings, and their scalps went numb. The people in the Elixir King Mountain also learned of the scene. The black-haired woman quickly brought people over. "How dare you challenge the Elixir King Mountain?" At this moment, Gu Santong walked out and said, "I came here with an invitation. Is this how you treat your guests?" How disappointing. As soon as he said this, some people began to discuss. "Yeah, the Elixir King Mountain is too overbearing." The black-haired woman snorted. "You must be Gu Santong. You don't have the right to speak in front of us." They were extremely arrogant. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at those people. Immediately, those people's souls trembled. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on them. They were so frightened that they fell to their knees with a plop. This scene was extremely shocking. The people around were shocked. Why are the people of the Elixir King Mountain kneeling? Lin Xian snorted. "Unruly. I'll teach you a lesson." After that, he walked forward. Let's go. Goose Santong and the others followed. This time, no one dared to block the way. Even the black-haired woman and the others were stunned. When Lin Xian and the others disappeared, the black-haired woman roared, "Damn it. How dare he make me kneel? I'll make him wish he was dead. You bunch of trash, help me up." The surrounding guards quickly helped the black-haired woman up, but no one dared to chase after Lin Xian. After all, that look just now almost killed them. This kind of person was too terrifying. The Elixir King sat in the grand hall of the Elixir King Mountain. In the middle of the hall, there was a cauldron surrounded by many people. These were all powerful people. They were either unparalleled masters, sect leaders, or clan leaders. As for the others, if their strength and status were slightly inferior, they were not qualified to be here. Moreover, even the powerful families and sects in the second galaxy were seated at the back, because those in front were all from the deity land. Among them, there were a few masters from the deity land. Their strength was unfathomable. The Elixir King patted the cauldron and said loudly, "This time, the elixir I'm making is called the Nirvana Elixir. It could allow one to enter a state of nirvana while cultivating. This way, he would be able to deceive the heavenly Tao and easily break through." The moment these words came out, the other clan leaders all sucked in a breath of cold air. They all knew how terrifying it was to transcend a tribulation. For example, the Santong Mansion's Mansion Lord had failed the Great Sage Tribulation. It was very miserable. If he had this nirvana pill, his chances of success would be greatly increased. Thus, how could they not be moved? Immediately someone laughed and said, "Worthy of being called Dan King, your strength is indeed strong enough. Only a pill king would be able to concoct such a pill." How many nirvana pills had the Dan King refined? Countless people spoke one after another, all wanting to get a nirvana elixir. How could I miss out on such a good medicinal pill? At this moment, a loud and clear voice came from outside the main hall, clearly reaching everyone's ears. The surrounding experts were stunned.
Who was it?
They all turned their heads to look. Who dared to be so arrogant in the Pill King Mountain? The next moment, they saw a group of people walking over. These people looked unfamiliar. However, there was one person among them that they were extremely familiar with.
Goose Santong.
Wasn't that the Mansion Lord of Santong Mansion? That couldn't be right. Didn't they say that he failed the tribulation and had a slim chance of survival? Why was he here? I saw that he looked normal. His face was glowing and he didn't seem to be injured. Is the legend true or not? Countless people frowned. The faces of the people of Pill King Mountain also darkened. They were about to explain the Nirvana pill. How could the other party interrupt them? Was he not giving them face? The Pill King gave a look, and immediately, the Grand Elder of Pill King Mountain stood up. He shouted coldly, "Who let you in, you unruly thing? Get out of here." With a wave of his sleeve, terrifying flames were released. They turned into a sea of flames, covering heaven and earth as they rushed over. The power of the flame was extremely terrifying, and it contained fragments of immortal chi. The surrounding people exclaimed. It was a power that surpassed a supreme saint. This was the power of a boundary emperor. As expected of the Pill King Pill, even the Grand Elder was a boundary emperor. The surrounding clans and sects were incomparably envious. At the same time, some people shook their heads. Goose Santong is dead meat. Goose Santong's face also changed. He was not a match for a boundary emperor yet, but he did not retreat, because a palm had already blocked in front of him. That palm, with a gentle slap, extinguished the sea of fire in the sky. The surrounding people were shocked. Heavens, who is it? Did someone make a move? It was a young man who broke the boundary emperor's flame with one palm. This young man is incredible. Could it be that he is also a boundary emperor? Countless voices of discussion rang out. The Grand Elder's face also darkened.
Who are you?
Are you with Goose Santong? Are you also going to go against Pill King Mountain? Lin Xian smiled. So what if I go against you?
You're not qualified to talk to me.
Get out of here. After saying those words, Lin Xian sent out a palm strike.
You are courting death.
The Grand Elder was angry and wanted to attack. However, how could he be a match for Lin Xian? A slap landed directly on his face and sent him flying. The Grand Elder's body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. He screamed in the air. This scene left countless people dumbfounded. The Pill King's face also changed. He stared at Lin Xian and said, "Young man, you are playing with fire. Surrender, kowtow, and apologize, and I will give you a way out. Otherwise, you will not be able to walk out of this hall today." So arrogant, so domineering. Lin Xian snorted. He waved his hand and asked Gu Yanran to come to his side. "This is my niece. Back then, she came here alone to ask for elixirs to save her father. Pill King Mountain. Not only did you not give her elixirs, you even wanted to kill her. Today, I want to ask, what is the reason for this?"
What reason?
The Pill King sneered. "She is just a little girl like an ant. What reason do you need to kill her?" As soon as he said this, the surrounding people's faces changed. Gu Yanran's face was even paler. "This is too much." Lin Xian snorted. "Do you mean that if you are powerful, you can crush and ignore everything?" The Pill King snorted. "Yes, young man, I know you are a boundary emperor and very powerful. However, this is not a place where you can behave atrociously. I have countless friends in my life. My elixirs have saved the lives of countless overlords. They will all help me. As long as I wave my hand, they will come out and make you suffer." "Really? Then wave your hand and let me see." Lin Xian stood there and sneered. The Pill King was angry. "Stupid thing. Well, today I will let you know the consequences of going against me." He turned his head and looked at the few overlords sitting high on the chairs behind him. "Friends from the deity ground, thank you." There were 5 of them. They had powerful auras and were very noble, because they were from the deity ground. At this moment, the 5 of them stood up and walked forward. "Oh my God, this kid is dead. Not only that, but Santong Prefecture is also finished. Santong Prefecture will be reduced to ashes. They are the overlords of the deity ground. One of them is the ancestral patriarch of the Heavenly Water sect. There is also the ancestral patriarch of the Rakshasa sect. All 5 of them are very terrifying." Countless people exclaimed. They all knew that Lin Xian was dead. Lin Xian raised his head and looked over as well. When he saw the 5 of them, he was stunned. When he saw the 5 of them, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Chapter 59-28. The King of Elixirs cupped his fists at the 5 ancestral patriarchs and said, "Thank you." He turned around and looked at Lin Xian and the others.
"See?
These are the 5 ancestral patriarchs of the deity ground. Any one of them can destroy the second galaxy.
Can you stop them?"
Gu Yanran and the others turned pale again. However, Lin Xian smiled and stood there with his hands behind his back. He looked calm and didn't seem to care. The King of Elixirs was furious. "Why are you pretending at such a young age?" He waved his hand and wanted the 5 ancestral patriarchs to attack. The 5 ancestral patriarchs walked over. "Greetings, young master." Ancestral patriarch Tianshui came to Lin Xian and bowed respectfully. "Greetings, young master." "Greetings, young master." The 5 ancestral patriarchs were extremely respectful to Lin Xian, as if they were worshipping a god. This scene left everyone dumbfounded. The families and sects in the hall were all dumbfounded. What's going on? Am I dreaming? Am I hallucinating? These are the 5 ancestral patriarchs from the deity ground. They're so superior. But now, they're bowing to a young man. What's going on? Who is this young man? Countless shocked voices were heard. The people of Elixir King Mountain were even more stunned, especially the King of Elixirs. His body trembled. He knew that even he had to treat the 5 ancestral patriarchs with respect. But now, the 5 of them bowed to him. Didn't that mean that the young man in front of him was even more terrifying? Who did he offend? So you still remember me. I thought you were going to attack me. Lin Xian said with a smile. Ancestral Patriarch Tianshui and the others were so frightened that they fell to their knees. Please forgive us, young master. How dare we attack you? These 5 were none other than Ancestral Patriarch Tianshui and the others that Lin Xian had subdued when he first came to the deity ground. The 5 of them were well aware of Lin Xian's methods. Damn it, they're kneeling. The 5 patriarchs actually knelt. At this moment, all the sect leaders and clan leaders in the main hall stood up, dumbfounded. One must know that Zhang Xian's salute had already left them astonished. But now the meaning of kneeling was completely different. This meant that the 5 patriarchs were no match for this young man. In fact, their statuses were as different as heaven and earth. Who exactly was this young man?
What?
The King of Elixirs' eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Why are the 5 of you afraid of him? He's just a young man. Could it be that the 5 of you together can't take him down? Ancestor Tianshui raised his head and snorted. Shut up, you idiot. The Luosha patriarch also snorted. Even your master has to lower his head before him, let alone you. Why aren't you kneeling down and kowtowing to Lin Gongzi and apologizing? At the same time, they turned to Lin Xian and said, Young master, listen to us. We didn't know that he had offended young master. If we had known, we wouldn't have dared to do it even if you gave us 100 guts. Lin Xian looked at the King of Elixirs and smiled. You have a lot of friends. You've saved countless masters. With a wave of your hand, thousands of soldiers and horses were about to attack me. Where are they now? The King of Elixirs trembled in fear. The people on Elixir King Mountain were even more terrified. The Grand Elder, the woman in black, and the others were scared out of their wits. They all knelt on the ground with a thud. This young man was too powerful. He was so powerful that he could suppress everything. Would they still dare to attack? The King of Elixirs' expression changed instantly. So, it's Lin Gongzi. I didn't recognize you, and offended Lin Gongzi. Please forgive me, Lin Gongzi. He hurriedly bowed and saluted. Ancestor Tianshui stood up and kicked him. Why are you still bowing?
Kneel.
The 5 patriarchs stood up and knocked the King of Elixirs to the ground. They kowtowed to Lin Gongzi, admitted their mistakes, and crippled their own arms. Do you know that you almost got us killed? The 5 patriarchs vented their anger on the King of Elixirs. The King of Elixirs was severely injured in an instant. He screamed, No, spare me. Lin Gongzi, spare me. My master is the 9-crown king. He still had one last hope, and that was his master, the 9-crown king of the deity ground. With his strength and status, he was a terrifying servant. When he said this, he became proud again. Was the 9-crown king powerful? Lin Xian sneered. Looks like you're still unrepentant. Hearing this, Ancestor Tianshui and the others didn't hold back. They punched through the King of Elixirs' body. Blood splattered, and screams were heard. The main hall seemed to have turned into hell. Do you admit your mistakes? Lin Xian asked in a low voice. Spare me, Lin Gongzi. The King of Elixirs was terrified. Lin Xian said, Didn't you say that you could crush everything if you were strong? You can crush others, but I can also crush you. Come here and apologize to my niece. Apologize to her? The King of Elixirs looked at Gu Yanran, and his face darkened. He could see that Lin Xian was powerful, so it wasn't shameful for him to kowtow. But who is this Gu Yanran? He was definitely unwilling. Lin Xian was enraged, and he sent him flying with a slap, smashing him into pieces. He said coldly, You're still unrepentant. If that's the case, there's no need for you to live. The 5 patriarchs also prepared to kill. The King of Elixirs roared, No. He cut his forehead and screamed, Master, save me. A beam of light appeared between his brows. Then a loud voice sounded, Who dares bully my disciples? The 9-crown king's power erupted and swept across the land. Ancestor Tianshui and the others were also knocked back and vomited blood. The others were shocked. It was the Nine-Crown King's aura. Was he coming? They trembled in fear. Those from King Elixir Mountain were pleasantly surprised. The Grand Elder and the black-haired woman all smiled. Great, their ancestral master was here. The Nine-Crown King was here. He could destroy everything. The King of Elixir stood up and roared, "Kid, so what if you're strong? Are you a match for the Nine-Crown King? Let's see how I'll kill you later." In the sky, the blood-red light turned into a space platform. Then, an old man appeared. This old man had the demeanor of a transcendent being and was very powerful. The King of Elixirs knelt on the ground. "Master, please kill him." The transcendent old man lowered his head. "Who's so reckless?" Murderous intent appeared in his eyes as he looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there and sneered. Ancestor Tianshui and the others roared, "Don't attack. He's the one." Lin Xian stopped the 5 patriarchs and looked at the Nine-Crown King. "Are you sure you want to attack me? I'm afraid you can't bear the consequences." "My master isn't afraid of you." The King of Elixir sneered. The Nine-Crown King frowned. This young man is so confident. He looked at the other party and found him unfathomable. In the next moment, he seemed to remember something. He carefully identified it and then sucked in a breath of cold air. Soon, the Nine-Crown King arrived in front of Lin Xian and knelt on the ground. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi." The Nine-Crown King knelt down. The people in the hall had all gone crazy. At this moment, even Gu Santong and the others were dumbfounded. The Nine-Crown King was a supreme existence in their eyes. How could he kneel now? The King of Elixirs was even more crazy. "Even my master is kneeling?" He felt despair. Chapter 59-29. Seeing him kneel, Lin Xian smiled. "You recognized me? I'm stupid, so I recognized you. Young master, please punish me." Nine-Crown King was extremely respectful. Lin Xian shook his head. "I don't dare to punish you. Your disciple even said that he wanted to kill me. My disciple doesn't know what's good for him." Nine-Crown King flipped his hand and slapped King Dan to the ground. "You idiot. Not only did you offend Lin Gongzi, but you also implicated me. Go to hell and repent." He slapped the Elixir King to death, his heart and soul destroyed. The Elixir King couldn't believe that it was his master who had done it. The people around him were also terrified. The people of Elixir King Mountain all knelt. "Grandmaster, please spare us. It's no use begging me. Beg Lin Gongzi." Nine-Crown King knelt on the ground, not saying a word. He was also waiting for Lin Xian's punishment. The people of Elixir King Mountain all knelt. "Lin Gongzi, please have mercy. Lin Gongzi, please have mercy." Lin Xian said coldly, "I can spare those who have nothing to do with it. But those who had participated in the pursuit of Gu Yanran or knew the situation but didn't help, you can do it yourselves." Some people despaired. Among them, the Grand Elder and a few others made their own moves and were transformed into mists of blood that vanished into thin air. "As for you," Lin Xian looked at Nine-Crown King. "You didn't teach well. Breaking one of your arms is your punishment." "Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for sparing my life." Nine-Crown King kowtowed to express his gratitude. Young master didn't have to do it. He broke one of his arms and then retreated to the side. Satisfied? Lin Xian looked at Gu Yanran and smiled. Gu Yanran nodded desperately. This is a peerless expert. With a few words, he turned the enemy into ashes. "Since you've vented your anger, let's go." Lin Xian turned and prepared to leave. But they had Nirvana pills. Gu Yanran was very interested in that pill. Lin Xian laughed and said, "That kind of trash can only trick others. When I get back, I'll give you something better." Hearing Lin Xian's words, the surrounding people were stunned. Nirvana pills are trash? However, when they thought of the other party's methods, they were able to understand. The young man in front of him was definitely a godlike existence. Lin Xian and his group left, leaving behind countless legends. Not long after, Gu Santong and his family also left through the space gate. Before he left, Gu Santong said, "Brother Lin, I will try my best to master the ancient scriptures. When the time comes, we will fight together, and I will lend you a hand. Lin Xian nodded. Good brother. Let's fight together in the future. Gu Yanran also said, Uncle Lin, the elixirs you gave me are delicious. Can you give me more in the future? Lin Xian laughed and said, The next time we meet, I will give you immortal pills. Really? Then it's a promise. Pinky promise, don't forget. Gu Yanran was looking forward to it. Lin Xian smiled and waved his hand. They parted ways. Gu Santong and the others went to the hidden Emperor Star, the Gu family. Lin Xian also returned. He was preparing to go to the heavenly land. On the way, Lin Xian met someone. It was Zhong Lingxiu. Lin Xian, I want to go with you. I want to experience it. Zhong Lingxiu said. How did you know I was here? Lin Xian was surprised. Zhong Lingxiu said, I happened to meet the Gu family, so I asked them to build a space gate and rushed over. By the way, Gu family leader, I am very grateful to you. It's nothing.
It's a piece of cake for me.
Plus, Santong is my friend. However, I want to go to the heavenly land. It's very dangerous there. Zhong Lingxiu said, Of course I know it's dangerous, but I'm not a flower in a greenhouse. I'm not afraid of danger. Permitha destroyed the Dao Yi sect. I must grow up and take revenge for the Dao Yi sect. Alright, you can follow me, but you have to listen to me and don't act on your own. Also, if it's too dangerous, I'll send you back. Don't worry, I know. Zhong Lingxiu nodded. The group set off for the heavenly land. They entered the deity ground and came to the depths. As they flew deeper, they felt an extremely terrifying aura. They were tired after flying for a long time. They decided to rest for 2 days. Lin Xian didn't go in immediately. He had been to the heavenly land before and knew the danger there. So, he had to adjust his state. Zhong Lingxiu looked into the distance and took a deep breath. That's the heavenly land. What a terrifying aura. Zhong Lingxiu had a connate Taoism aptitude, one of the strongest physiques in the universe. She had cultivated it to a very high level. Of course, she hadn't reached the phenomenal level yet. This time, she wanted to reach the phenomenal level of her Taoism aptitude. Her entire being melded into the void. Life and Tao came together as she sensed the aura around her. The dark red divine dragon and the toad were both amazed. This little girl is incredible. As expected of a Taoist physique, a very mysterious physique. Lin Xian's body was powerful and his flames were terrifying. His connate Taoism aptitude had merged with the Great Tao and had thousands of changes. Moreover, the Great Tao's laws could be cultivated very quickly. Zhong Lingxiu had reached the 9-crown king. Lin Xian was also surprised. One had to know that Lin Xian and the others had experienced many dangers to reach the 9-crown king. Zhong Lingxiu's trump cards were definitely not as good as his, but her realm was very fast. All of this was related to the connate Taoism aptitude. Merging with the Great Tao, one's cultivation speed would naturally increase by leaps and bounds. Even Lin Xian was surprised. As expected of a super physique in the universe. Once it reached phenomenal level, it would be an existence that could sweep across the universe. He was looking forward to the moment when the connate Taoism aptitude reached phenomenal level. After resting for 2 days, Lin Xian and the others continued on their journey. However, before they entered the celestial land, they were stopped. Everyone, don't go any further. It's very dangerous ahead. If you go in, you will most likely die. Listen to the old man's advice. Come back. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others stopped and turned to look. Behind them, an old man had appeared at some point. The old man had gray hair, wore cotton clothes, and had yellow teeth. Those who didn't know better would think that he was a beggar. However, in his right hand, he was holding a canvas with the words, "Immortal guides the way," written on it. In his left hand, he was leading a dog. The dog looked like an ordinary country dog, but it was especially intelligent. At this moment, it was grinning at everyone. That's right, it was smiling. Zhong Lingxiu and the others felt their hair stand on end. The sudden appearance of such a strange combination made them very vigilant. The Crimson Dragon said, "Old man, who are you? Why do you care?" "I'm being kind. That place is not where ordinary people can go. If you go, you will most likely die. Of course we know it's dangerous. We're going there." The Crimson Dragon snorted and was about to ignore it. However, the old man threw out a few copper coins. He exclaimed, "Oh no. This divination isn't good. You guys, it's better not to go. It's dangerous ahead." Pretending to be mysterious, the Crimson Dragon and the Toad continued walking. However, the old man said, "Fairy, it's better not to go in. If you go in, I'm afraid it's really dangerous." The dog at his feet also barked twice. The old man said, "Look, even De Huang said so. You definitely shouldn't go." Seeing that no one paid attention to him, the old man could only sigh. There are many ways to cultivate the physique. It doesn't have to come here. Hearing this, Zhong Linxiu was stunned. This time, she really wanted to cultivate the physique. Could it be that the old man had seen through everything? Even Lin Xian stopped. He narrowed his eyes and turned his head. For the first time, he looked at the old man seriously. Chapter 59:30. Lin Xian began to look at the other party seriously. He asked, "Old man, what do you think we should do?" "It's very simple. Let this little fairy follow me, and she will be safe." "Follow you?" Zhong Lingxiu frowned. The Crimson Dragon also snorted coldly. "I think you're an old liar." "Nonsense." Chen Yixian shook his head. "How can I be a liar? Follow me and learn one or two of my unique skills, and she will be safe." The Crimson Dragon and the others obviously didn't believe it. Even Lin Xian felt that this was an old liar. Chen Yixian was anxious. He said, "Do you know what the danger is?" He pointed ahead and said, "That place is not somewhere you can enter. There are demons buried under that land." "If we can't enter, can you enter?" The Toad snorted coldly. "There is no place in the world that we can't go." Chen Yixian shook his head. "You Toad, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Do you know what that place is? I can enter that place, but you can't, because I am a venerable immortal." "Venerable immortal?" This time, Lin Xian and the others were stunned. Chen Yixian said, "Yes, venerable immortal. What is cultivation for? Isn't it for eternal life? And in this world, there is no way to live forever. Only the immortal world can live forever. And I am from the immortal world. I am a venerable immortal, a realm that you can't imagine." "No ways?" The Crimson Dragon and the others were shocked and asked, "Are you stronger than the Great Emperor?"
Yes.
"Can you kill the Great Emperor in seconds?" Chen Yixian shook his head. "If I was at my peak, of course, there would be no problem. However, I came here from the immortal world and suffered some injuries. Now I can only use 1% of my strength. So, I am temporarily weaker than the Great Emperor." TSK Lin Xian and the others looked at him with disdain. Chen Yixian's old face turned red. He said, "Just a little weaker, but not by much. Supreme, do you know? I have the strength of a Supreme now. You have to know, a Supreme is also an existence that can sweep through all directions. A Supreme is a Supreme Master that can challenge the Great Emperor. When you see a living Supreme Being, shouldn't your faces be filled with admiration?" However, the Crimson Dragon and the Toad shook their heads. "I was wondering what it was."
So he was just a supreme being.
That scared me. Celestial Sovereign? What an old liar. Lin Xian's expression was even calmer. He had seen a lot of supreme beings, and he had even defeated 2 of them. Therefore, he wasn't worried at all when facing Jizun. Chen Yixian was dumbfounded. At the very most, these youngsters were only at the quasi-emperor realm. Shouldn't one be envious and excited upon seeing a supreme martial artist, and then faint?
What?
There was no response at all. "I say, do you guys not know how strong a supreme being is? Do you want me to explain it to you?"
There was no need for that.
It was just a supreme being. How rare could it be? The Crimson Dragon and the others waved their hands. Lin Xian also said, "Let's go." He was no longer interested. Chen Yixian panicked. "Wait, you really can't go there. There are demons there. If you don't believe me, look." He waved his hand, took out a talisman, and flew it forward. The canvas in his hand was also swaying nonstop. Suddenly, the clouds in front of them rolled, and the ground seemed to become transparent. Everyone saw a magical scene. There was indeed a figure sleeping under the ground. It was an enormous creature with blue scales that released a gloomy radiance. Moreover, there were countless chains on its body that locked it up. There was a terrifying great Tao on those chains. There was indeed something. Zhong Lingxiu sucked in a breath of cold air when she saw this scene. Lin Xian and the others also frowned. Chen Yixian saw this scene and smiled. "How is it? Do you believe me now? My Supreme Being's strength is not to be trifled with." In his opinion, these little guys should be afraid this time. Next, they should admire him. However, they didn't. The few of them quickly calmed down from their initial shock. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to investigate carefully. Then he said, "What a terrifying demon beast. It's even stronger than the Nine-Crown King. However, it's not a great emperor." The Crimson Dragon also said, "Is it very powerful? Competing with my bloodline?" He roared at the sky.
Roar.
The terrifying roar also spread out. The dragon's roar shook heaven and earth like thunder, making one's scalp tingle. The big yellow dog under Chen Yixian's feet was not convinced. It started barking as well. Its voice was extremely sharp. It could compete with the Crimson Dragon's voice. This surprised Lin Xian and the others. This big yellow dog was not ordinary. Chen Yixian's expression changed. He kicked the big yellow dog and said, "Shut up. Do you want to wake him up?" At the same time, he looked at Lin Xian and the others. "You young people don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How can you provoke the demon inside? Come back quickly and stop provoking him." "Tisich, old man, are you that scared? If you are, then leave. We're not afraid." The toad also jumped up. Its strength was even more terrifying. After all, it had the body of a half-step great emperor. Under these people shouting, the demonic beast under the ground seemed to be waking up from its deep sleep. A terrifying aura spread across the place. Zhong Lingxiu's expression changed. She said, "Lin Xian, are you okay? Don't provoke any more terrifying beings." Lin Xian said, "Don't worry. I don't care if it's not a great emperor's demonic beast." "Don't care?" Chen Yixian, who was next to him, was stunned when he heard this. "Little guy, do you know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is? You don't care if it's below the great emperor? Even I don't dare to provoke it."
Buzz.
At this time, the mysterious being under the ground in front of them suddenly woke up. Its eyes opened. It was as if endless sea water surged out and swept through the 9 heavens. At the same time, his huge body also slowly swayed. Only then did everyone realize that it was a crocodile. However, its body was huge and its aura was terrifying. It wanted to soar into the sky, but the chains on its body restrained it. However, it did not give up, because it heard that someone was challenging it. The big yellow dog stopped barking. Chen Yixian also said, "Oh no, has the Overlord Sea demonic crocodile finally awakened? You guys are in big trouble." The toad said disdainfully, "Aren't you a venerable immortal? It's not even a great emperor. What are you afraid of? You old man, you're a liar." However, Chen Yixian shook his head. "What do you know? My ability is not in combat strength. But forget it. Since it's suppressed, it shouldn't come out. Since I've met it, I can't just ignore it. You little guys step back and watch me suppress it." Chen Yixian walked forward. Big Yellow seemed unwilling to go up. Chen Yixian kicked it and said, "Useless thing, come with me." Only then did Big Yellow follow. At this moment, Chen Yixian's robe and white hair danced as if he had really turned into an old immortal. With a wave of his sleeve, 16 talismans flew over and floated between heaven and earth. "Big Yellow," he shouted in a low voice. big yellow reluctantly showed dog blood. Chen Yixian used this dog blood to write a mysterious great Tao on the talismans. Then he shouted coldly, 8 desolate 6 directions suppress. Chapter 59:31. Those talismans bloomed with mysterious light and flew in all directions. Then, they fell down fiercely like a heavenly monument. They wanted to seal the entire world. Below, under the earth, the overlord sea monstrous crocodile felt this scene and was completely enraged. The blue scales on its body burst with light. It completely woke up, waved its claws, and tore the earth apart. A super strong force blasted out. The earth shattered, the aura rolled, and the sky cracked. The behemoth walked out, roaring at the sky, and its eyes burst with a fierce light. Oh no, it came out. Chen Yixian's face changed drastically, and he activated the 16 talismans fiercely to continue suppressing it. At this time, the overlord sea monstrous crocodile was furious. It spat out a deep-sea fire and rushed over. The deep-sea fire bloomed in the sky and directly tore the 16 talismans apart. Then, a claw came over, covering the sky and the earth like an ancient mountain. It slapped Chen Yixian away. Chen Yixian kept retreating, his face pale. Oh no, the strength of this monster is so terrifying. It is not far from the great emperor realm. Unfortunately, my ability is not in combat strength. I can't beat this monster. You little guys hurry up and leave. I can still fight a few moves with it. If you don't leave, you will really die. Chen Yixian reminded Lin Xian and the others next to him. However, when he turned his head, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Xian and the others not only didn't escape, but also walked forward. Lin Xian looked at the other party curiously. What a strong power. Is this the overlord sea monstrous crocodile? Rosalong, Toad, I feel that it is stronger than the two of you. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. Ben Huang was not convinced. The Toad said, I am even more unconvinced. Come on, let's fight 300 rounds.
Roar.
The overlord sea monstrous crocodile lowered its huge head and looked at the Crimson Dragon and the Toad. Disdain appeared in its eyes. The next moment, it opened its bloody mouth and bit downward, trying to devour everything. It's over. Chen Yixian sighed. These little guys are dead meat. At this critical moment, Lin Xian stepped forward and threw out a punch. The golden fist was like the sun as it soared into the sky.
Boom.
A blood-curdling scream rang out as blood splattered everywhere. The tyrant sea monstrous crocodile retreated. Its huge body landed on the ground and tore the earth apart, forming countless valleys. A crack actually appeared on its body. You dare to swallow me? Are you tired of living? Lin Xian sneered. Humph, is this all there is to it? The Crimson Dragon and the Toad also sneered. Zhong Lingxiu's face was pale. On the other side, Chen Yixian was completely stunned. Oh my god! What's going on? This young man defeated the sea tyrant monstrous crocodile with a single punch. Was he dreaming? This young man actually possessed such strength. He was even more powerful than him. It was no wonder why the other party was so calm and composed earlier. Even when he saw the hegemonic sea demonic crocodile, he was not afraid. It turned out that the other party was a super strong man. He had misjudged him. The Crimson Dragon came over, patted Chen Yixian on the shoulder, and said, Old man, don't be afraid. We will protect you. Chen Yixian blushed. What a shame. Before, he was still pretending to be an immortal in front of these young people, but it turned out that they were even stronger than him. He was really showing off in front of an expert. Roar. The fallen tyrant sea monstrous crocodile stood up again. Its eyes were burning as it stared at Lin Xian and rushed over again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Do you want to die? He directly took out the immortal killing sword and stabbed it. This time, the tyrant sea monstrous crocodile was even more injured. Its body was pierced through, and a large amount of blood fell down. There was no longer a fierce look in its eyes. Instead, it was replaced by a touch of horror. The young man in front of it was too terrifying. It seemed that he really had the ability to kill it. It turned around and ran. Although its body was huge, its speed was terrifyingly fast. In an instant, it ran away and disappeared. Lin Xian snorted coldly and wanted to chase after it. Chen Yixian, who was next to him, said, "Forget it. I told its fortune that it was not destined to die. Even if you chase after it, you can't kill it." Lin Xian stopped and turned his head. He said, "Old man, you said that your ability is not in combat strength. Then what is it? Is it just fortune-telling?" Chen Yixian nodded. "Yes, what I said before was not a lie. This little fairy is going to the heavenly land, which is very dangerous. You are also very dangerous. However, I have detected a great opportunity in both of you. As long as you don't die, you will benefit immensely if you get that opportunity." After Lin Xian and the others heard this, they all took a deep breath. Lin Xian asked, "Old man, can you tell us in detail what the opportunity is?" Chen Yixian closed her eyes and calculated with her fingers. After a while, he said, "Little fairy's opportunity is related to her Taoist body. As for your opportunity, it is related to your eyes. I can't tell you the details. If I reveal the heavenly secrets, there will be endless trouble." Was it related to his eyes? Could it be the power of reincarnation? Lin Xian was surprised. Suddenly, he remembered that he had felt the power of reincarnation in the heavenly land. However, at that time, his divine body had just reached phenomenal success, and his realm was not stable, so he did not explore it. It seemed that he had to go there if he had the chance. Perhaps his fortuitous opportunity was really there. Lin Xian looked at Chen Yixian and said, "Old man, you said that Lingxiu will be less dangerous with you. Is that true?" Chen Yixian said, "Do I look like a bad person? She will be much safer with me. As for whether she is willing to follow me, that is not certain." Lin Xian looked at Zhong Lingxiu and said, "Are you willing?" Zhong Lingxiu nodded. "I can follow him for a while."
Why?
Lin Xian was surprised. Zhong Lingxiu said telepathically, "Lin Xian, don't worry. He is not a bad person. Besides, there is one more thing. I can feel that my born Taoism aptitude will cultivate faster by his side." Cultivate faster? Lin Xian was stunned. The next moment, he looked at Chen Yixian and activated the Eye of Reincarnation, trying to see clearly. However, Chen Yixian's body bloomed with a trace of mysterious light. There was an extremely mysterious Great Tao and the 8 trigrams around him. "Young man, are you investigating my secret? You can't." Chen Yixian shook his head. Lin Xian exclaimed, "The power of the 8 trigrams. Do you know the 8 trigrams mirror?" Lin Xian remembered the 8 trigrams mirror in the extreme Tao world. "You are talking about that mirror? Of course, I know it. I made it. However, I fell out with it later."
Uffed.
Lin Xian was stunned. "What? Fell out?" "The 8 trigrams mirror is an extreme Tao weapon. This old man fell out with the weapon? Is this a joke?" Lin Xian was very confused. However, the 8 trigrams aura emanating from the old man just now was very similar to the 8 trigrams mirror. There must be some connection between the two. This old man should not be from the Nirvana realm. Therefore, he decided to let Zhong Lingxiu follow him. The old man said, "Little fairy, are you willing to take me as your master?" Zhong Lingxiu nodded coldly and said, "I need to think about it. I'll be by your side for a while. I will stay with you for a while to see if you are qualified to be my master."
Sigh.
"This old man has a hard life." Chen Yixian sighed. "He fell out with me because he refined a weapon. Now I have to look at his face if I want to take a disciple. Oh, what a hard life." Chapter 5932. Zhong Lingxiu said goodbye to Lin Xian and left with Chen Yixian for the time being. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "Let's go." However, at this moment, a terrifying energy surged from the distance. Lin Xian and the others turned their heads to look. The next moment they froze. They saw a terrifying light dancing in the sky. It was a purple aura that surrounded many teams. Those teams were extremely powerful. They were wearing armor and had cold faces. They quickly entered the heavenly land.
There were so many people.
The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. They also frowned. These people didn't seem to be great emperors or supremes. What were they doing there? Lin Xian used his soul power to investigate. He heard some conversations, and his face turned ugly. These people were summoned by Great Emperor Ziluo. It seemed that they were going to do something big in the heavenly land. Something big? The Crimson Dragon frowned. Kid, what should we do? Lin Xian's eyes flashed with killing intent. It's time to get rid of Great Emperor Ziluo. He wasn't a complete Great Emperor, so it would be much easier to kill him than a real Great Emperor. Great Emperor Ziluo had opposed him many times. Lin Xian felt that there was no need to let him continue to exist. However, he had some understanding of the situation in the heavenly land. Great Emperor Ziluo didn't come alone. There were other great emperors. If he went to him at this time, he would be courting death. He would be surrounded by several great emperors. Therefore, he had to think of a way to lure him out. As for what way? The toad smiled.
Don't worry.
We're good at this. Let's go back to the deity ground and discuss. We'll make a good arrangement. Lin Xian and the others returned to the depths of the deity ground. They found a place to settle down. Lin Xian said, "What way?" The toad smiled. "Next, watch our performance."
All right.
Lin Xian nodded. He wanted to see what these guys were up to. The toad took Little White out and began to arrange his performance. Not long after, some news came from deep inside the deity ground. "Violet Falling Land, you piece of trash, do you dare to come out and fight? Auctioning off my shoes." This pair of shoes slapped Great Emperor Ziluo's face. Who wants him to kneel and be beaten? There was Emperor Ziluo's blood on it. When the news spread, everyone went crazy. When the people in the depths of the deity ground heard this, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Oh my heavens, Great Emperor Ziluo is trash? Great Emperor Ziluo was slapped in the face by a shoe? What kind of joke was this? Who was this person? So reckless. That was Great Emperor Violet Fall. A great emperor, an unparalleled existence that swept through the 8 desolates. That was the strongest expert of an era. Now, there was actually someone who dared to challenge the emperor. Furthermore, it was a ruthless slap to the emperor's face. How reckless was that? However, not only did the news not disappear, it spread even further. In fact, he had even taken out over 1,000 pairs of shoes. This pair too, this pair too. Haha, these are all shoes that have beaten Great Emperor Ziluo. Hurry up and buy them. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Just who was it that was so reckless? The families and sects in the depths of the deity ground quickly investigated. Soon, they discovered that it was 3 beasts: a toad, a dragon, and a monkey. These 3 demonic beasts were too reckless. At most, they were only quasi-emperors. Where did they get the courage to challenge Great Emperor Ziluo? Wait, someone exclaimed. I recognize them. Aren't they Lin Wudi's 3 beasts? Could this be Lin Wudi's idea? Was Lin Wudi challenging Great Emperor Ziluo? They heard that Lin Wudi had hunted down Great Emperor Ziluo before. Now that he was challenging him, did he mean to fight again? Would the emperor dare to accept the challenge? Last time, it was said that Great Emperor Ziluo was attacked because he was careless. Otherwise, how could he have lost? No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he was no match for the emperor. That's right, Lin Wudi's clamor this time would definitely fail. Just wait and see. He would be killed by Great Emperor Ziluo. Countless voices of righteousness rang out. In their hearts, the emperor was still high and mighty, like a god. On the other side, the subordinate sects of Great Emperor Ziluo were gnashing their teeth in anger. They gathered together, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. How dare they challenge Great Emperor Ziluo? They must be tired of living. Catch them pull out their tendons, skin them alive, and make them suffer. These families were completely enraged. They gathered their forces and killed them. These people were full of killing intent. When these families moved, the Crimson Dragon and the Toad had already run away. However, the news didn't stop. It continued to spread, not only in the depths of the deity ground, but also in the entire deity ground. Countless people were talking about it. Like Tianshui. When the Luosha Patriarch and the others heard the news, their minds went blank. Lin Gongzi was too bold. When the Divine Dragon City heard the news, they cheered. Great, as expected of the Dragon God. Dragon God, good job. Kill that emperor. They were excited. The Hellfire Dragon had a strange expression. This didn't seem like Lin Xian's method. It was more like that toad. It was too disgusting. I wonder if Great Emperor Ziluo would vomit blood when he heard the news. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Some others, such as Spiritual Supremacy, had strange expressions when they heard the news. This Lin Wudi was as arrogant as ever. On the other side, there were also some emperors such as Ming Di, Bone Emperor, Moon Goddess, Guanghan Deity, and others. When they heard the news, they all fell silent, because they didn't know what to say. He reckoned that the great Emperor Ziluo would be so pissed that he would vomit blood. How pathetic. Great Emperor Ziluo was really trash. He only knew how to sneak attack. As soon as he used the Divine Toad Fist, Ziluo cried. Who is the strongest in the world? Lord Toad was the most awesome. In order to attack Great Emperor Ziluo, the Toad created a jingle and quickly spread it all over the path of immortality. In an instant, countless people knew the jingle. After those people heard it, they were dumbfounded. They were really going to fight to the death. How dare he challenge Lord Ziluo? Finally, some of Ziluo's subordinate families were angry. An expert made a move, bringing with him a boundless killing intent that swept over. With a slash of the saber, he wanted to kill the toad.
Boom.
In the end, it was shattered by the toad's punch. Blood mist filled the air. To think that this toad would be so terrifying that it could kill the 9 Crown Kings so easily. So what? No matter how terrifying he was he a match for a great emperor? Although he had Lin Xian behind him, so what if Lin Xian was strong? Could he really defeat Great Emperor Ziluo? Even if he could, so what? Behind Great Emperor Ziluo stood Prometha. That was the true supreme overlord. An existence that everyone had to bow their heads to. This Lin Xian didn't know what was good for him. He would definitely be killed in the end. Countless voices of Tao and justice were heard. When Lin Xian heard the news, he was also dumbfounded. Oh my God, how could it be like this? To be honest, this was indeed the best way to provoke Ziluo. After Great Emperor Ziluo heard it, he would definitely rush out crazily. However, he really couldn't do it. It was too shameless. Only someone like the Toad could do it. It was the right choice to leave such a thing to the other party. Chapter 59:33. Damn it, you've gone too far. Kill that damn toad. The 3 major families were instantly enraged. They began to gather their forces, determined to kill the toad. No one was allowed to continue to challenge it. On this day, in an ancient city junior high school in the deity ground, the toad's voice was heard again. Countless people were stunned and looked at the toad. Who on earth is it? It's really ugly, but it's really bold. The toad was angry. Ugly your ass, this is called ugly handsome, do you understand? You can't understand my handsomeness. The few geniuses who spoke were almost drowned by the toad's saliva. But at this time, 24 killing swords appeared around the toad, with extremely terrifying killing intent, wanting to pierce through the toad. The people around were so scared that they retreated frantically. It's coming. They knew that Great Emperor Ziluo's revenge was coming. The 24 killing swords carried an unparalleled aura. Between heaven and earth, there was a sea of blood surrounding it, as if the gate of hell had opened. They had sealed off all paths of escape. It's over. This toad is dead. I told you not to offend the great emperor.
Boom.
With a thunderous sound, the 24 killing swords all hit the toad, bursting with dazzling light. However, the toad's body swayed, and the 24 killing swords broke. The toad's body was unscathed. How is that possible? The people around were stunned. What kind of physique does this toad have? It's too strong. The toad sneered. Who is invincible in the world? Mr. Toad is the most awesome. He roared, and his voice swept across the land. The void was mercilessly torn apart, and the 24 figures were knocked back. The 24 top masters were dumbfounded. They retreated. They quickly retreated. But in an instant, they were shrouded by this voice, and their bodies were torn into pieces. All of them died. Why did he send trash like you here? How boring, you're too weak. You can't break my defense at all. Tell Great Emperor Ziluo to come here. Look at Mr. Toad's divine fist, he's crying.
Boom. Boom.
The sky shook, the earth trembled, and a murderous aura filled the air. In the sky, 3 dark clouds condensed into a triangle, enveloping the entire ancient city. The people in the ancient city were terrified. They looked up at the sky. Damn, what's that? So many people, so many experts. Had the 3 great clans arrived together? This was a family subordinate to Great Emperor Ziluo, a super expert from the depths of the celestial land. They were really angry. There were too many people here, at least 1 million of them. The 3 great clans had millions of experts. They were filled with murderous intent, as if they were gods of death. That power pierced through heaven and earth. The toad no longer clamored. It raised its head to look at the sky with a biting cold look in its eyes. In the distance, Whitey and the Crimson Dragon had also arrived. The Crimson Dragon said, "There are a lot of people here, but it's still not enough. You 3 demonic beasts dare to challenge the Emperor.
Today will be the day you die."
The patriarchs of the 3 great clans walked out from the sky. They spat out thunderous sounds that reverberated in all directions. "Men, do it." Boom! The experts of the 3 great clans were on the move. They rushed down in an instant. Retreat quickly. The people in the ancient city all retreated. With 1 million strong cultivators, no one was a match for them. In the blink of an eye, 100,000 experts had descended. It was a sight that sent chills down everyone's spines. Xiao Bai hugged the little gourd and said, "Baby, please turn around." The gourd cracked open, and a flying sword flew out.
Boom.
The universe was split in half. This flying sword turned into a laser and pierced through the 100,000 strong cultivators. In an instant, the flying sword flew back, and Xiao Bai put away the purple gourd. Those people in the distance were all stunned. What did this little monkey do? Why did the 100,000 strong cultivators in the sky stop? The people of the 3 great clans also frowned. In the next moment, their bodies trembled. They saw the most incredible scene. The bodies of the 100,000 strong cultivators were shattered. Then, they all fell down like meteorites. The space between their eyebrows was all pierced, and their bodies and souls were destroyed.
Boom. Boom.
The 100,000 strong cultivators fell, and their corpses piled up like mountains. The entire ancient city turned into a hell. Everyone went crazy. Killing 100,000 strong cultivators with 1 sword strike, this monkey was too terrifying. In the sky, the people of the 3 great clans also had ugly expressions. This was only 110 of their strength. However, they were all killed in an instant. They couldn't bear it. Go, all attack and kill them. Don't hold back. The 3 patriarchs gave the order. The remaining 900,000 strong cultivators rushed over in an overwhelming manner. Do it. The Crimson Dragon shouted in a low voice. He waved his claws, and hundreds of killing formations instantly condensed and formed. Xiao Bai appeared and disappeared unpredictably. His little claws kept slapping these people's faces, making them dizzy. Hundreds of killing formations enveloped tens of thousands of strong cultivators and instantly tore them into pieces. On the Toad side, it was even more terrifying. The Toad Divine Fist, Toad Poison Mist. 1,000,000-strong cultivators fought against the Toad's group of 3. The momentum was very shocking. However, the situation was one-sided. The 1,000,000-strong cultivators couldn't resist at all. They fell one after another, and their blood turned into a blood mist that drifted in the air. As for the Toad's group of 3, they seemed to have turned into killing gods, constantly reaping. After about an incense stick's worth of time, the 1,000,000-strong cultivators had all fallen. In the sky, only 3 old men were left. These were the patriarchs of the 3 great clans. Between heaven and earth, it was terrifyingly quiet. Only the cold wind blew past. The people in the ancient city in the distance were dumbfounded when they saw the scene. What happened? Did all the 1,000,000-strong cultivators fall? This was impossible, right? These people were too terrifying, weren't they? Had they surpassed the 9-crowned king? Had they reached the great emperor realm? How could they be so powerful? These people were really scared out of their wits. The Toad said, "Your 3 clans are too trashy. Is this the full extent of your strength? It's really disappointing." The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. "Send a message to that great Emperor Ziluo. Tell him to get his ass over here. You guys are no match for him." "Are you demons?" The 3 patriarchs were also trembling in fear. They had never seen such a scene. So many strong cultivators were easily killed by the other party. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. One of them, an old man in white, gritted his teeth and said, "If you offend us like this, your end will be very miserable. If Great Emperor Ziluo attacks, none of you will be able to escape." "Just him? He can't kill us. I'm afraid he won't dare to come." The Toad sneered. The 3 old men in the sky looked at each other. Then they suddenly attacked. In an instant, they arrived in front of the dark red divine dragon and the other 2. Powerful energy erupted from their bodies. The Crimson Dragon was shocked. He quickly layered hundreds of arrays in front of him. Little White also dodged quickly. Only the Toad was as immovable as a mountain. The 3 old men sneered. "Want to leave? It's useless. Today, none of you 3 can escape." Dissolving blood pill. Explode for me. It turned out that before they attacked, the 3 of them had swallowed a pill called the dissolving blood pill. It could stimulate their bloodline and increase their strength. It had reached an unbelievable level. As soon as they attacked, they shocked everyone. It was over. The faces of the spectators changed drastically. They even used the dissolving blood pill. The 3 patriarchs were really angry. Unless a real great emperor came, they would die without a doubt. "It's all over. Use your heads as a sacrifice to our clans." The 3 patriarchs' voices were incomparably cold. Chapter 59:34. The 3 patriarchs unleashed a shirkle attack, causing countless people to be terrified. However, the Toad sneered. "Looks like you really don't know what's good for you."
Divine Toad Fist.
He turned around and threw a punch. The power of a half-step emperor erupted. Immediately, one of the clan leaders was blasted into a bloody mist. As for the other 2, one was enveloped by a crimson dragon with an array formation. The other was knocked unconscious by Whitey. Then the Toad attacked again and killed all 3 clan leaders with 3 punches. Were they all dead? When the spectators saw this scene, they were all stunned. They really couldn't believe that the 3 clan leaders had even taken the blood transformation pill. However, they were still no match for the Toad. Wasn't the Toad's power too terrifying? Lin Wudy didn't appear, but the few beasts around him had dealt with the 3 clan leaders. It was really shocking. Lin Wudy's strength had already reached such a level. The people of the deity ground were extremely shocked. The battle here quickly spread, so the entire deity ground knew about it. In the depths of the deity ground, there was an uproar. At first, they didn't believe it, but after continuous investigation, they found that it was true. They were completely stunned. Was there really someone who could challenge a great emperor? Great Emperor Ziluo seemed to be in danger this time. No, they had to quickly report it to the great emperor. They couldn't let him continue to be arrogant. Some clans hurriedly passed the news to Great Emperor Ziluo in the Celestial Land. After Great Emperor Ziluo received the news, he was instantly enraged. He roared at the sky, shattering the universe.
Damn it.
Damn Linwudi and the three beasts around him. I won't let any of them go. He was murderous. No one had ever dared to challenge him like this. Although he had lost to Lin Xian last time, that was because he had been careless. This time, he had regrouped and would definitely win. Take my token and gather the subordinate clans and sections. This time, not only will I kill Linwudi, but I will also kill him. I also want his divine union and everyone related to him to be completely annihilated. Great Emperor Ziluo's eyes burst with extremely cold, killing intent. The token quickly spread out and landed in the depths of the deity ground. Those families started to move quickly. Then they quickly gathered together. The Purple Cloud Clan and the Purple Thunder Clan were two powerful clans in the depths of the Celestial Land. They were both subordinates of Great Emperor Ziluo. Now that they had obtained the medallion of the Emperor, they began to gather their forces. Between the heavens and the earth, they formed a powerful group. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. Among them, there were two figures standing there. They were the clan leader Zi Yun and the clan leader Zi Lei. One of them was surrounded by clouds and mist, looking very mysterious. From the looks of it, it was a woman. The other person was surrounded by lightning and looked extremely violent. This was a handsome man. The two of them stood there like deities, waiting patiently. The people in the distance quickly gathered. The first palace master had come to pay his respects. The second palace master had come to pay his respects. A loud and clear voice sounded. In the next instant, 7 figures knelt on one knee before them. These were the 7 hall masters. They had gathered together to form 7 different powers. "How are the preparations going?" asked the patriarch of the Zi Yun clan coldly. Her voice was extremely pleasant to the ears. The first palace master said, reporting to the patriarch, "The preparation has been completed." "Very good." The patriarch of the Zi Yun clan nodded. The experts gathered by the first palace master were extremely powerful. The experts gathered by the second palace master had a violent flame energy. The third palace master had a terrifying dark energy. Each palace master had a different set of laws. Countless experts had gathered in the third palace master's palace. This time, they had to succeed and flatten the divine union. Very good. Go ahead and capture those 3 demonic beasts. Suppress them. I want them to suffer a fate worse than death. Clan leader Zi Lei said in a low voice. Next, the other palace masters took action. They led the experts of the other palaces and moved out quickly. Before long, they arrived at the ancient city. Because of the shocking battle that had taken place in the ancient city, countless people had come to watch and gather information. However, when the experts of the 7 great palaces arrived, the entire ancient city became oppressive. A vast power swept out, and a biting, cold, murderous aura made everyone's hair stand on end. Heavens, who are these people? They are actually so terrifying. It's the 7 kills. Don't offend them. They are the subordinates of Emperor Ziluo. What? It's actually them? They are extremely terrifying experts. It was said that each of them could kill a group of experts alone. Now that the 7 kills had joined forces, the 7 great palaces teams had all arrived. It seemed like Lin Wudi and his 3 demonic beasts would not be able to escape this time. At this moment, in a forest outside the ancient city, there was a black sky steel. This black sky steel was surrounded by black flames that condensed into a blurry figure. In front of him, there were few figures who were kneeling on one knee. "Are you sure that Lin Wudi will appear there?" the immortal emperor asked in a low voice. "It should be." It was said that the 3 demonic beasts by his side had killed many people there. Now the 7 kills had also appeared there. This was a super strength below the emperor realm. It seemed like Lin Wudi would appear there soon. I understand. Continue to gather information. the immortal emperor said in a low voice. The few figures in front went to gather information. The immortal emperor gritted his teeth. Damn it! My immortal heart has been taken away. I must find another body. Lin Wuti, your body is the most suitable. I want to return to my peak and become an immortal within 1,000 years. The immortal emperor couldn't wait. If he couldn't become an immortal within 1,000 years, he would be reduced to ashes. At this moment, a figure in a blood-red robe walked over. He said, Immortal Emperor, if you're in danger, why don't you join forces with us? My father really wants to join forces with you. The immortal emperor turned to look at him. He frowned and said, Wait a moment. I'm from the Supreme Hall after all. I can't join you just yet. But one day, when I have no other choice, I'll join you. I hope so. The blood-red figure slowly disappeared. The immortal emperor's expression turned serious. It seemed that there was more than one person after him.
Damn it.
The immortal emperor was infuriated by the fact that he had been targeted by so many people. He had fallen to this state because of Lin Wuti. It was all because of Lin Xian. If Lin Wuti hadn't fought with him, he wouldn't have been injured by the void burial. If he hadn't been injured, he wouldn't have broken the seal and lost the immortal heart. Damn Lin Wuti. One day, I'll catch you and make you wish you were dead. Lin Wuti isn't easy to kill. Let's just sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Another voice rang out, and the spirit sovereign walked out. These two supremacies had a good relationship. Previously, they had joined forces with Mount Immortal. At this moment, the immortal emperor was in a dangerous situation. He had asked spiritual supremacy to accompany him. Hearing spiritual supremacy's words, the immortal emperor could only nod. This time, I won't be reckless. I'll strike at the best moment. Chapter 59-35. The atmosphere in the ancient city was extremely tense. After the 7 palaces arrived, they sealed off the entire ancient city. They began to search. Once they found the figures of the toad and the other 2, they would immediately kill them. Inside the ancient city, the toad, the crimson dragon, and little white gathered together. The dark red dragon frowned tightly. This time, there are quite a lot of people here. The toad said, What are you afraid of? Just kill them. The crimson dragon said, Wait, my array is not finished yet. When the time comes, I will give them a super gift. As he spoke, his claws danced. Under the ground, countless spiritual veins rolled with extremely terrifying power. Every time the crimson dragon's palm formed a seal, the power of the array would increase by a little. After the toad finished looking, it said, Is your array okay? I feel that you're forcing it. The crimson dragon said, The power of the spiritual veins here is not good. Back then, we used 99 million dragon veins to form a killing array. That was terrifying. Now, although he had borrowed the killing immortal sword, the spiritual veins were still much worse than the dragon veins of the past. However, although he had only set up a simple killing immortal array, it was not something that those people could resist. After the toad heard this, he also gasped. Back then, half a frog was killed like this. Therefore, when he felt the killing immortal array again, his body shook a little. Little White was on the side, contributing spiritual fruits and spiritual wine, constantly providing the crimson dragon. After the crimson dragon ate it, he recovered some of his strength. However, this killing array was too powerful. Back then, they had carefully arranged it and spent a lot of time. Now, the crimson dragon had to complete it in a short period of time. It was indeed very stressful. However, he still completed it within 3 days. When it was completed, the crimson dragon almost fainted. Lin Xian opened the sword world and let him into rest. At the same time, he said, These people, I will leave it to you. I will wait for great Emperor Ziluo to come. And I feel that it is not just him. Maybe there will be other supreme masters or great emperors coming. So, I have to be in peak condition at all times. Don't worry, leave it to us. Lin Xian nodded. He wasn't too worried. After all, the crimson dragon Toad, and the others were very strong. Whitey was also very elusive, so there wouldn't be too much danger. The 7 great palaces searched for a few days, but did not find anyone. They then snorted coldly. 3 demonic beasts, come out. Aren't you very powerful? Didn't he dare to challenge the Dharch? We are coming.
Come out and die.
They couldn't find him, so they wanted to use provocation to find him. The first palace master shouted coldly, if you want to come out, I will suppress you with one hand. The second palace master sneered, 3 little ants, come out and die. After the people in the ancient city heard this, their scalps went numb. They didn't know if those 3 people would appear. Someone said, I think he left long ago. Who's so stupid to wait here? However, right after he said those words, 3 figures walked out. From the far end of the street, the toad's body was as huge as a small mountain. The crimson dragon danced in the air, looking mighty and extraordinary. Whitey was incomparably adorable. It hugged the small gourd and held the treasure bowl. It made people want to take it for themselves. This little thing was too cute. Countless female martial artists had stars in their eyes. They were really coming. The people in the ancient city widened their eyes in disbelief. These 3 demonic beasts didn't leave. They came out of their own accord. What were they trying to do? Could it be that they wanted to fight against the 7 great palaces? Impossible. Although they had destroyed the 3 great clans, the 7 great palaces were far more powerful than the 3 great clans. The 7 great palaces were known as the 7 Killers. Each of them was an earth-shattering figure. They were absolutely no match for them. Were they coming? Humph. The 7 great palaces sneered when they saw the scene. They waved their hands, and an overwhelming number of experts followed them. The 7 great palaces were like 7 demon gods. They quickly descended and sealed off the entire area. Their aura swept out in all directions. It was as if the entire ancient city had turned into Azura hell. The first palace master raised his arm high. There was a token in his hand. It was the token of the great emperor. He shouted coldly, everyone listen to my order. Destroy this ancient city. Turn everything into ashes.
What?
The people in the ancient city were stunned. Destroy this ancient city? Didn't that mean that they would be destroyed too? An old man looked up and said, why? We didn't offend you. That was it. A young genius was unconvinced. Why do you want to kill us too? As soon as he finished speaking, his head flew up and he fell into the sea of blood. The first palace master said in a deep voice, do we need to explain our actions to you? Who asked these 3 guys to appear in this ancient city? You're guilty for staying in the same city as them. So you can all go to hell. A cold voice rang out, causing countless people to fall into despair. Countless experts from the 7 great palaces gathered and formed a killing sword. This killing sword was millions of miles long. It slashed down wildly. It wanted to split the entire ancient city in half. The ancient city shook violently. The people in the ancient city trembled. Some of their bodies had already cracked. They couldn't resist at all. He was really arrogant. The toad's face darkened. The crimson dragon also snorted coldly. Who does he think he is? Is he a god? Can he dominate everything? Can he destroy it as he wants? Did he ask me? If I don't agree, you can't destroy anyone today. Countless powerhouses in the sky controlled the sword of slaughter and slashed down in a frenzy. Heaven and earth shattered, the earth cracked, and countless cities turned into ashes. This sword really split the ancient city in half. Many people in the ancient city were terrified and desperate. But at this time, an array came from afar and enveloped them, resisting the killing sword in the sky. At the same time, a voice sounded, those who have nothing to do with it leave. This was the voice of the Crimson Dragon. Thank you. After hearing this, the people in the ancient city hurriedly thanked him. Then, they quickly fled into the distance. Want to leave? The 7 great palace masters in the sky were angry. They swept their swords and wanted to kill those who escaped. No matter. The toad roared, your enemy is me. He released a poisonous fog to cover the sky, wanting to kill those people. Forget it, let's not care about those people. Kill them. The first palace master roared. They changed their target to the toad, and the other two. At this moment, only the toad, the crimson dragon, and Whitey were left in the ancient city. Lin Xian also came. He hid in the dark and didn't make a move. He looked around vigilantly. He had a feeling that someone was watching him. This was a power that surpassed the Nine-Crown King. It was at least a supreme. It might even be other great emperors. After all, he was afraid that there were too many enemies. Moreover, he had too many treasures. Everyone wanted to attack him. He couldn't be careless. However, he had already lent his immortal slaying sword to Rizalong. Therefore, the immortal slaying sword array was enough to resist everything. Sure enough, after Rizalong activated the sword array, he said, 7 great palaces? I'll turn you into ashes. He completely activated the immortal slaying sword array. Chapter 5936. The people from the 7 great palaces were incomparably ruthless. They wanted to sweep through everything and get rid of these 3 beasts. Those who were watching the battle in the distance also sighed. They felt that the Toad Trio was dead meat. But at this time, they were stunned, and their bodies trembled, because they found that a sword chi suddenly appeared under the Crimson Dragon's feet. The biting cold sword chi cut through the void, cutting through the void. Hundreds of powerhouses from the 7 great palaces were split apart. Their blood turned into a bloody mist. No way, was there something wrong with my eyes? A sword split hundreds of powerhouses. What kind of swordsmanship was this? They weren't so powerful before. These people were stunned. But it wasn't over yet. In the next moment, the 2nd sword chi rushed out, the 3rd sword chi, and the 4th sword chi. Countless sword chi, with the Crimson Dragon as the center, spread out in all directions. The surrounding powerhouses from the 7 great palaces were pierced, split apart, and turned into a bloody mist. Screams rang out. Everyone looked at the scene dumbfounded. Finally, someone exclaimed, "This is a formation, a sword formation?" But what kind of formation was this?
It was so terrifying.
Look, that's an elder from the 2nd palace. He was split in half. Also, that's a powerhouse from the 3rd palace. He was pierced and nailed to death in the void. The people who were watching the battle began to tremble. They had experienced how terrifying the people from the 7 great palaces were. But now, they were falling in droves. It was really hard to imagine how powerful the formation was. Moreover, this formation was still growing, and eventually, it enveloped the space where the ancient city in front was located. The people from the 7 great palaces also went crazy. They found that their geniuses, powerhouses, and elders were falling one by one. No, the great elder was dead. Our number 1 genius had also fallen. Damn it, how could this be? These people had gone crazy. Didn't they sweep through everything?
But why?
These 3 demonic beasts were actually so powerful. The 3rd palace master roared crazily. Sword formation. How could he have such a terrifying sword formation? Look at that sword, it actually made me feel shocked. The 5th hall master's pupils shrank. The 1st palace master roared madly. Hurry up and attack. All palace masters attack with me. He finally couldn't hold it in any longer. The 7 hall masters attacked together. These 7 hall masters were known as the 7 kills. At this moment, 7 killing swords appeared in the hands of the 7 of them as they rushed forward. They wanted to tear apart the array formation to save everything. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. He was a formation master. Also, destroy that killing sword. They rushed towards the Crimson Dragon. They still had the Zhu Xian sword. At this moment, the 1st hall master was extremely powerful. Like a shadow, he rushed down in an instant. The sharp blade in his hand had really split open the void. He was too powerful. The 1st hall master was actually so terrifying. The sword in his hand was also a peerless treasure sword. Countless people were shocked. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Interesting. However, his focus was not on this. He could feel that someone was really coming. The next moment, he snorted and rushed out. Who is it? Get out here. The cold snort made people's scalps go numb. Countless people's souls were about to split open. In the void, there were a few sneers. In the next moment, Lin Xian rushed to the distance. This place was far away from the ancient city. Lin Xian stood there, surrounded by countless black storms that swept towards him. Lin Xian waved his fists, which turned into 9 suns and suppressed everything. He was fighting with an unknown existence. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon's battle was still ongoing. The 7 Hall Masters took action and suppressed the situation so that fewer people died on their side. However, they were not happy. The reason for that was because their people were still dying. They could not suppress this sword array. In particular, the killing sword in the middle made their hair stand on end. How many powerhouses had been killed here to have such a terrifying murderous aura? At this moment, the Crimson Dragon sneered. This is just the beginning. I'll let you see the true power of the array formation. He waved his claws, and suddenly, the god-slaying sword burst out with endless light. Thousands of sword shadows merged on the god-slaying sword and slashed out. The 7th Hall Master was instantly pierced. His eyes widened as he fell from the sky. Was he dead? A Hall Master was dead. This was a peerless attack. Countless people were horrified. The other Hall Masters' pupils also shrank. They quickly retreated and distanced themselves from each other, their faces full of shock. The other party could actually kill them. Damn it! How could this be? Don't retreat. Charge. The 1st Hall Master roared crazily. He definitely did not have much power. His array formation could not last for too long. His guess was right. The Crimson Dragon could not hold on for too long. After all, the number of spirit veins here was limited. However, the power was still extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, another 2 Hall Masters fell. 3 Hall Masters had already died, and the remaining 4 Hall Masters felt their scalps go numb. The 1st Hall Master rushed over crazily. He came to the Crimson Dragon's side. The Crimson Dragon's hair stood on end, and the dragon scales on his body cracked. However, at the critical moment, the toad slapped out with its claws. The Toad Divine Fist directly blocked the sword. The body of a pseudo-emperor exploded, and the 1st Hall Master was sent flying. The toad followed up with another attack.
Your opponent is me.
The 1st Hall Master roared, and the killing sword kept dancing. Between heaven and earth, the power of killing swept out. However, how could he be the toad's opponent? The toad had swallowed half of the frog. At this moment, his physique was also at the pseudo-emperor level. Therefore, it did not take long for him to kill the 1st Hall Master. There were still 3 Hall Masters left. The Crimson Dragon, Little White, and the Toad attacked together. The 3 Hall Masters were in imminent danger. They would probably fall in a few moves. Sure enough, when the last Hall Master fell, everyone in the heavens and earth began to tremble. Those who were still alive in the 7 Hall Masters were terrified. They turned around and fled. However, how could they escape? In the end, the killing formation killed all of them. Between heaven and earth, there was a sea of blood. At this moment, it turned into Azura hell. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. You dare to attack us? This is the price. Is there anyone else? Who dares to fight with me? The toad also roared in all directions. At this moment, there were only 3 figures left in front. Those who were watching the battle in the distance also felt their scalps go numb.
It was too scary.
The world was terrifyingly quiet. No one dared to fight. On a distant mountain peak, 2 figures stood. One of them was a woman surrounded by clouds. The other was a man surrounded by lightning. Among them, Ziyun frowned and said, "Has 7 been killed?" Zidian snorted coldly. What a waste. He can't even deal with 3 demonic beasts. I'll kill them. He turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over in an instant, tearing the void and shattering the universe. Not long after, he came to the ancient city. With a roar, terrifying lightning fell from the sky like a sea of thunder, drowning the world. Not good. The Crimson Dragon's face changed. Their array had no power. And the person who came was even more terrifying than the previous 7 kills. He was even more terrifying than the 7 of them combined. Who was this person? The toad also roared and punched out. He broke through the sea of thunder. But this time, the lightning filled the air and rushed over again. Chapter 59:37. It seems that it's time for me to make a move. Xian sneered and floated over as well. She was like an auspicious cloud, dancing between heaven and earth. She was not in a hurry. In her opinion, Zilei alone could solve the battle. She was just going to admire and watch the battle. There was still a battle in the distance? Suddenly, Ziyun was stunned. She looked into the distance. There was still a battle in that place, and it was even more mysterious.
Who was it?
She rushed over. The place where the battle took place was where Lin Xian and the mysterious being were fighting. Lin Xian was surprised. This mysterious existence was very terrifying. It was definitely at the supreme level. It might even be a great emperor. However, the other party did not show up and he did not see who it was. It was the first time he had seen that aura. The person hiding in the dark was also surprised. He did not expect that he could not take down Lin Xian. Suddenly, he was stunned and turned his head to look. Was someone coming? His figure disappeared, completely disappearing. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan and looked around. He frowned slightly when he found that the person had left. The next moment he looked up, because he found that someone was coming from the distance. It was an auspicious cloud. There was a woman in the cloud. This person was Ziyun. After Ziyun arrived, she found that the battle was over. There was no one around the battlefield. There was only a young man. This man was dressed in black, standing with his hands behind his back. He had a handsome face. What a young man. He was a young genius. However, she could not sense his aura. He should not be too strong. Ziyun was sizing up Lin Xian. She shook her head slightly. In her opinion, the previous battle was definitely not Lin Xian's, because the other party was not worthy. She floated in the void and asked in a deep voice, "Young man, what is your name? Which family are you from? Wasn't there a battle here before?" Her voice was questioning. She thought that the other party would answer obediently. Lin Xian glanced at the other party and ignored him. He did not take this person's strength seriously at all. He was just an ant. How could he answer? Was he ignored? Ziyun was also stunned. She smiled. Interesting. From the looks of it, he was an idiot. Do you think you can be so arrogant in front of me just because you are a young genius? Let me tell you, what is a true expert? In the next instant, she appeared in front of Lin Xian and sent a palm strike at Lin Xian. Young man, I can suppress you with a single move. This is absolute strength. Ziyun planned to teach Lin Xian a lesson. However, when her palm was 10 centimeters away from Lin Xian, it stopped. Because she couldn't press it anymore. She felt that there was a force on Lin Xian's body that blocked her palm. Not only that, her palm seemed to be in pain. What happened? Ziyun was stunned. Lin Xian smiled. Because you're too weak. You're not strong enough to suppress me. In fact, you can't even block the flames on my body. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. There was a ball of flames on his body as he rushed out. Above the flames, there was a resplendent power. Not good, there was danger. Ziyun's expression changed. She could naturally feel the terror of this flame. She didn't expect that this young man still had treasures on him. She quickly retreated. Rosy cloud movement technique. She turned into countless clouds, her movement technique appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Even the 9-crowned king couldn't tell which was her real body. How dare you fight back against me?
You've angered me.
I'll let you suffer my anger. Ziyun snorted coldly. She was about to attack again. However, in the next instant, A ball of flames arrived in front of her. Impossible! How do you know where my real body is? Ziyun roared crazily. She wanted to dodge, but it was too late. In the next instant, she was reduced to ashes. Even in death, she didn't believe that she would be killed by a young man. However, before she died, she heard Lin Xian say, "You're really stupid. However, to be able to die in my hands, you should be proud. Because I'm Lin Wudi."
What?
So it was him. Ziyun's eyes were filled with despair. Was she killed by Lin Wudi? She was careless. She didn't expect that this young man was actually a legendary existence. A wind blew between heaven and earth, and Ziyun was no longer there. Lin Xian killed her as if he was crushing an ant. He didn't care too much. Instead, he turned his head and looked into the distance. He said in a low voice, "The battle there should be over." In front of him, the battle in the ancient city had indeed come to an end. Zilei was covered in blood. His expression was ugly.
Damn it.
He was actually injured and about to die. He couldn't beat these three beasts. The toad sneered. Toad Divine Fist. His fists danced out once again, smashing his opponent into pieces. Finally, he killed the other party. They won all the battles. This time, the powerful families that great Emperor Ziluo had gathered were all destroyed. As for Lin Xian and the others, they were unscathed. Lin Xian smiled.
He felt that it was about time.
After slapping Ziluo's face several times, the great Emperor Ziluo would definitely come out and fight him. At that time, it would be the death of the other party. Cold killing intent appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. The news here quickly spread. The deity ground was shocked, and the universe was in an uproar. When the news reached the heavenly lands, great Emperor Ziluo directly spat out a mouthful of old blood. Was it all destroyed? Damn it, I'm going to kill him with my own hands. The thunderclap great Emperor snorted coldly. You're not allowed to go. Great Emperor Ziluo said. Why do you care? He soared into the sky, ignoring the others. This time, he was going to do it himself. He wanted to save face. Otherwise, which family would submit to him in the future? He killed his way out of the heavenly land. At the same time, on the other side, a snake shadow disappeared. Then, in a huge city in the heavenly land, the Empress opened her eyes. She said, Ziluo has left. Should we help Lin Xian? After hearing this, Lord Alcohol also smiled. Great Emperor Ziluo's soul was not complete. With Lin Xian's strength, that little guy could completely suppress him now. However, it was difficult to kill a great emperor after all, unless one had overwhelming strength. Now, it was not easy for Lin Xian to kill him. However, we can indeed help him. Let those extreme weapons go. Those extreme weapons had already awakened by themselves, and were very strong. If they worked together with Lin Xian's strength this time, they should be able to kill Great Emperor Ziluo. The people on the other side did not know about the situation here, and neither did Great Emperor Ziluo. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come alone. In his opinion, although Lin Xian was strong, they were on par with each other. Moreover, Lin Xian only had one extreme weapon at the moment, so he was not afraid. Lin Xian was also thinking of a way to completely destroy his opponent. But not long after, the might of an extreme weapon came. Kid, how have you been? In the sky, a huge 8 trigrams fell. Then, a destructive aura swept across the world, filled with the power of life. As soon as Lin Xian sensed the aura, he immediately rushed out from the ancient city. He exclaimed, 8 trigrams, destruction halberd, and Aquarius of life. The 3 extreme weapons had actually come. It was really surprising. Chapter 5938. Why are you guys here? Lin Xian was extremely surprised. Gossip said that we received news that Great Emperor Ziluo came alone to kill you. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Therefore, your father and Lord Alcohol decided to let us help you. Together, we can kill Great Emperor Ziluo. Was this what father and master wanted? Lin Xian was also surprised. He clenched his fists. That's great. I wanted to defeat him. Easy. Killing him was difficult. Now that you guys are here, there's no problem. How many resources do you need? I'll let the Divine Union prepare. Lin Xian said. However, the destructive spear shook his head. He said, Kid, there's no need. The three of us are different from the extreme weapons in your hands. We've already awakened and can fight like humans. We don't need you to provide us with power. We can absorb the power of heaven and earth. Lin Xian was astonished when he heard that. It seemed like these weapons were really mysterious. Oh right, he looked at Gossip and said, 2 days ago, I met someone who said he knew you.
Who was it?
Gossip was curious. Lin Xian said, his name is Chun Yixian. Do you know him? After hearing the gossip, his face immediately darkened.
Where is that guy? Come out.
I won't let him go. Gossip's body emitted a terrifying aura. She quickly hid her aura to avoid alarming Great Emperor Ziluo. Gossip then suppressed her aura. However, she still said, Kid, do you know where that old man is? Tell me that I'm not done with him. Lin Xian and the others were shocked. Could it be that the old man was telling the truth? Had they fallen out? Toad jumped over and said, I want to know why you two are so hostile. What exactly is going on? This is big gossip. Gossip my ass. Toad was hit to the side by an 8 trigram. Toad grimaced in pain. All right, we don't have time to care about these small things. Let's prepare to discuss. The most important thing is to kill Great Emperor Ziluo. That's right, Life Aquarius said. They had already fought in the Heaven's Land. However, other than Great Emperor Ziluo, they also had Great Emperor Baiyu and Great Emperor Thunderclap. With the 3 of them together, it was impossible to kill them. This time, Great Emperor Ziluo had come out alone. This was the best opportunity to kill him. Next, the group of people began to discuss. Not long after, the 3 extreme weapons were hidden. Only Lin Xian walked on the ground, using them to attract Great Emperor Ziluo's attention. On this day, the sky instantly darkened. Countless terrifying auras filled the air. Then a palm came crashing down. It completely enveloped the ancient city. Boom and earth-shattering sound rang out as the palm completely shattered the ancient city. Previously, the battle between the Toad and the 7 palaces had only split the ancient city apart. But this time, the ancient city had completely turned into a black hole. Everything was reduced to ashes. This was the strength of a great emperor. It far surpassed everything. Some people in the ancient city had already left because they were afraid of another battle. However, there were still some people who returned. This time, however, not a single one of them managed to escape. All of them were reduced to ashes. Blood mist filled the air, making one's scalp go numb. Several figures rushed out from the black hole. It was Lin Xian and the others. Their faces were cold. This great emperor Ziluo had gone too far. He had destroyed an ancient city just like that. Unforgivable. Lin Xian was filled with killing intent. Ziluo, who was in the sky, lowered his gaze. Kid, I've finally found you. Get over here and accept your death. His eyes were filled with boundless killing intent. And you 3 little ants. When I catch you later, I'll pull out your tendons and skin you alive. I'll make you wish you were dead. It was these 3 beasts that had slapped him in the face. He couldn't forgive them. He wouldn't let these people go. TSK, who do you think you are? You only dare to be arrogant in front of us. When I become a great emperor, I'll kill you with 1 slap. The Toad sneered. Great Emperor Ziluo was furious. He threw a punch. The Toad's hair stood on end. Although he had the body of a half-step great emperor, he was still no match for Great Emperor Ziluo. He roared and blocked the palm. He was sent flying and cracks appeared on his body. Lin Xian asked, Are you okay? The Toad gritted his teeth. I won't die. But kid, I might not be his match. Lin Xian said, Don't worry, leave it to me. The 3 of you should hide first. He waved his hand and put the 3 of them into the sword world. Then, Lin Xian raised his head and looked ahead. He said in a deep voice, "Great Emperor Ziluo, you still dare to come? Last time, I chased you all over the world. Don't you feel ashamed that you've been defeated? Everyone in the universe saw it. Whoever dares to laugh at me, I'll kill him. And you, I was careless last time. Now I'll go all out. I won't give you a chance." With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. All the creatures in the deity ground looked up in horror. Heavens, the aura of a great emperor. The great emperor was furious. This is the power of great Emperor Ziluo, right? I wonder who he's going to fight with. The purple radiance that filled the sky was like a meteor that fell down crazily. On the other side, Lin Xian also made his move. The 9 suns surrounded him, shattering the meteors that filled the sky. It was the 9 Yang divine body. Countless people raised their heads and looked into the distance. It was Lin Xian. Great Emperor Ziluo was fighting with Lin Quan again. Heavens, these 2 people are really going to fight to the death. Last time, Great Emperor Ziluo was at a disadvantage. I wonder if he can turn the situation around this time. Countless people were discussing. The battle ahead was extremely dangerous. This time, Great Emperor Ziluo went all out. All kinds of laws filled the air, vast and boundless, suppressing Lin Xian. "Kid, do you see that? That's my true power." Lin Xian snorted and shattered the laws in front of him with a punch. At the same time, his body swayed, and he quickly dodged the other party's immortal qi. Great Emperor Ziluo's body was surrounded by immortal qi. This immortal qi was extremely powerful. It's useless. Take out your great dragon sword or an extreme weapon. My immortal qi is stronger than before. Great Emperor Ziluo's expression was cold. He was like an immortal spirit. Immortal light erupted from his body. Lin Xian's divine flame jumped and fought with him. The corners of his mouth curled up. "Do you think I'm the only one who's fighting this time? This time, we've prepared carefully. Your death is coming. You've found helps." Great Emperor Ziluo frowned. "Who is it?" He looked around, but he didn't find anything. "Those you found are all trash. As long as it's not a great emperor, I'm not afraid of anything." He didn't believe that Lin Xian could find a powerful enemy. At this moment, the void broke open and a terrifying aura burst out. The entire world had turned completely black. A ray of piercing light shot towards Emperor Ziluo. Great Emperor Ziluo's expression changed. "What kind of aura is this? It's so terrifying." He raised his hand and slapped out. Immortal qi surrounded him. The 2 collided, and the sky collapsed. Chapter 5939. When the 2 collided, a dazzling light burst out. It was like an eternal light that cut across the entire deity ground. At this moment, countless martial artists looked up at the sky. They were shocked. Then, they saw a figure fly out and land on the ground. It formed a black hole. Someone exclaimed, "Oh my God, isn't that Great Emperor Ziluo? He was sent flying."
Who was it?
Great Emperor Ziluo landed on the ground, creating countless large cracks in the ground. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The wind howled.
Ah!
Great Emperor Ziluo roared at the sky and walked out of the ground. He was full of killing intent. His eyes were filled with extreme anger, as if he could destroy the 9 heavens. He was really crazy. Someone attacked him.
Who was it?
"Don't let me catch you, or I'll make you wish you were dead." But in the next moment, he was stunned because he realized that it wasn't a person who attacked him, but a weapon. It was a black robe with extremely terrifying great Tao surrounding it. Destructive power surged in all directions. One look at it, and one's soul would collapse. Damn it! Great Emperor Ziluo rushed over crazily. He couldn't stand being sent flying by a weapon. He wanted to shatter the weapon. Immortal qi kept erupting from his body. The destructive spear also roared, and destructive power surged. The two of them fought again. Falling flower sword technique. Great Emperor Luo waved his finger, and countless sword chi danced between heaven and earth like cherry blossoms. They all carried terrifying immortal chi, and each sword could pierce through heaven and earth. They hit the destructive spear, making clanging sounds. The destructive spear was even crazier and more powerful. He had the power to destroy heaven and earth. A terrifying aura erupted. The two of them fought. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged 100 moves. Great Emperor Luo was really angry. He reached out a large palm surrounded by immortal chi. The palm fell fiercely. He wanted to suppress the destructive spear. He could see that it was just an extreme weapon. The palm fell fiercely. It enveloped the destructive spear. Oh no! Lin Xian's expression changed. He wanted to help. But in the next moment, Great Emperor Luo grunted and quickly retracted his palm. There was a crack on his palm, and blood kept dripping. It carried a destructive aura. Lin Xian was shocked. He was actually injured? Great Emperor Luo was enraged as well. His eyes were filled with shock. To be honest, he couldn't accept being injured by a weapon. The crack on his palm slowly healed. Great Emperor Luo also took out his extreme Dao weapon. It was a long sword surrounded by lightning. Sword of Chasing Lightning. The sword slashed out and shrouded the destruction spear. Thereafter, the sword of lightning struck out crazily, sending out terrifying sword techniques that covered the entire sky. The light on the destruction spear dimmed as if it had been severely damaged. It was a good opportunity. Emperor Luo's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He had to take advantage of this opportunity to break this weapon. But just at this critical moment, another terrifying light shone. Then, the 8 trigrams came crashing down. All the sword lights were blocked. In the next moment, the 8 trigrams floated between heaven and earth. On the deity ground, countless people were terrified. They felt the power of another extreme weapon. The second item was an extreme Dao weapon. What is it? Was that a gossip? They were shocked. Great Emperor Luo frowned. 2 extreme Dao weapons, and they didn't seem to be ordinary extreme Dao weapons. They didn't need to be controlled to attack, and each attack was full force. Could it be that they were self-awakened extreme Dao weapons? How did they appear here? Between heaven and earth, an emerald light appeared. Then, the aura of life shrouded the destruction spear. The destruction spear's injuries quickly recovered. There was more.
Countless people exclaimed.
Great Emperor Luo's pupils constricted. In the next moment, he saw a treasure bottle appear. There was a powerful life force on the bottle. It was another extreme Dao weapon. 3 extreme Dao weapons circled between heaven and earth, shrouding Great Emperor Luo. Lin Xian also walked out, holding the sky-devouring jar in his left hand and the dragon sword soul in his right. There was a piercing light in his eyes. He said in a low voice, "Today, this will be your burial ground. If you have any last words, leave them." 3 extreme Dao weapons, Lin Xian's great success divine body, the sky-devouring jar, and the dragon sword soul. These powers were too shocking. They were prepared to deal with Great Emperor Luo together. Countless people were shocked. Great Emperor Luo's expression was extremely ugly. No matter how strong he was in danger this time. Those in the deity ground were trembling. The universe outside was also terrified. Countless people prostrated themselves on the ground. Those from the Great Emperor family looked up at the sky. Those from the Yi family exclaimed, "What a terrifying aura!" It came from the deity ground. There were at least 4 extreme Dao weapons. No, 6? 7 of them? How could there be so many? They were all crazy. Those from the Gu family were also shocked. The void mirror rose into the air and shot out a ray of space law. In the next moment, some blurry images appeared on the void mirror. The Gu family leader exclaimed. It was Lin Gongzi. Gu Santong, Gu Yanran, and the others also rushed over. They stood under the void mirror, shocked. It was really Lin Xian. Gu Santong exclaimed. Was the purple figure opposite him the Great Emperor? Yes, it was the Great Emperor. The Gu family leader's expression was grave. He said, "It seems that Lin Gongzi wants to kill a Great Emperor."
What?
Gu Yanran was stunned. In her mind, the Great Emperor was an invincible existence. They were supreme overlords who could sweep across the world. Now Lin Xian wanted to kill such an existence. Could he do it? Let's wait and see. I believe in him. Gu Santong clenched his fists. Not only them, but also the phoenixes, the Kirans, and the Kuan Pungs. Everyone was watching. Those from the deity ground were also shocked. This was a peerless battle. It was shocking. The void mirror, together with the void armor, created a space crack and flew into the distance. Let me lend them a helping hand. The first thing that came to Great Emperor Zi Luo's mind was to leave. He knew that he had been tricked. Even he couldn't resist so much power. But in the next moment, the world around him changed. A space crack appeared above his head, as if separating heaven and earth. What was that? He was shocked. Even 8 diagrams, and the destructive spear exclaimed. Lin Xian smiled. The power of space. It was the Gu family's void mirror. That's great. He said, don't worry. This is the power of space. With it, Great Emperor Zi Luo won't be able to escape. Also, the reinforcements outside won't be able to come in a short time. Let's kill him quickly. The power of space? That's great. The destructive spear sneered.
Attack.
An extremely terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. A great battle broke out in an instant. Great Emperor Zi Luo roared, "Get out of my way!" Immortal chi erupted from his body as he exerted his power to the extreme. The lightning sword in his hand swept in all directions. He couldn't fight for a long time. He had to tear open an exit. Chapter 5940. Great Emperor Zi Luo had become even more terrifying after using his full strength. Like a primordial beast, he swept away the 3 extreme weapons. The 3 extreme-grade weapons also erupted with terrifying extreme-grade power as they charged forward. A great battle broke out in an instant, the sound of explosions reverberating in all directions. Heaven and earth cracked, the entire deity ground shook. Countless people were terrified. Do you really think that you can suppress me with just the likes of you? Great Emperor Zi Luo roared at the sky, his voice like thunder, his body glowing with immortal light. But at this moment, a sword slashed down. The immortal slaying sword slashed down from the sky with unstoppable power. This was Lin Xian's attack. Great Emperor Zi Luo was hit in the back, his body swayed, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He turned his head, his eyes bursting with piercing, killing intent. Lin Wudi, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you. He rushed over quickly. Lin Xian snorted. The immortal slaying sword swayed, the dragon-shaped sword chi dancing in the air. At the same time, the sky-devouring jar created a terrifying vortex to devour his opponent's power. The battle between the two shook heaven and earth. Lin Xian's body was very strong. He was not afraid of his opponent at all. At this moment, the 3 extreme weapons erupted again. The Aquarius of Life released the aura of life, enveloping Lin Xian and the 2 extreme weapons. The 8 trigrams attacked, the 8 trigrams suppressed. The Destruction Spear's attack was also terrifying, with destructive power. Finally, one of Great Emperor Zi Luo's arms was broken, his blood dripping down. A single drop of the Great Emperor's blood was enough to crush the myriad of worlds. Endless cracks appeared in the sky. Lin Xian looked at his opponent and said coldly, "It's no use, Zi Luo. Although you're an emperor, your soul is incomplete. And you're too conceited. You came alone. Today I'll make you stay here." Hearing those words, Emperor Zi Luo's face turned incomparably cold. The current situation was not good for him. It was very bad. It looked like he was going to fight to the death. "I didn't want to use my strength against you guys. But you don't know what's good for you, so don't blame me." Emperor Zi Luo's immortal chi, continued to revolve around him as he swallowed the strand of immortal qi. In the next instant, the power in his body burst forth, and the injuries he had sustained began to heal rapidly. His figure grew even taller, and his purple hair fluttered in the wind. A piercingly cold light burst out from his eyes, and it was even more terrifying than the divine blade. What was going on? He could feel that great Emperor Ziluo's aura had become stronger. The people outside were terrified. What on earth happened? Even Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Did he swallow the immortal qi? Gossip said, "Be careful, this guy is going all out." He actually swallowed the immortal qi. We can't hold back anymore. Destructive battle spear. And the others nodded. In the next moment, they also erupted with an even more terrifying might. Boom! Suddenly, Emperor Ziluo's body vanished. When he reappeared, he was right in front of Lin Xian. The lightning blade in his hand slashed down from the sky, and lightning crackled around it. Lin Xian's pupils also shrank. What a fast speed! His opponent was indeed stronger than before. He raised the immortal killing sword to block. The two swords collided, and a bright light burst out. Lin Xian was shaken and kept retreating, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His opponent's strength had indeed become stronger. Emperor Ziluo looked down from above and said, "Do you see? This is my real power. Today, I will kill you with my own hands." The lightning blade in his hand turned into countless lightning bolts and rushed over again. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. He exerted the nine-yang divine body to the extreme, and the sky-swallowing jar floated above his head. He held the immortal killing sword with both hands and waved it crazily. The immortal killing sword. The immortal killing sword kept changing, and in the end, it became 1,000 meters long, like a celestial sword. Under the power of the body, the whole world was split open. Countless large cracks spread out in all directions. Emperor Ziluo was also smashed, and in the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it! He found that Lin Xian's strength had also become stronger. How is this possible? Had his opponent not used his full strength before? Sword qi exploded from Lin Xian's body. He said coldly, "It's useless. No matter what you are, you can't escape death today." With that, he rushed up again, and the two fought again. The destruction spear turned into a beam of light and instantly pierced over. In an instant, it pierced through Emperor Ziluo's body. Emperor Ziluo was nailed in the void, and he let out a miserable cry. Large amounts of blood dripped down, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. Damn it! Emperor Ziluo roared crazily. He turned around and attacked, and the destruction spear was knocked back. But then, the sky-swallowing jar came over again and swallowed half of his body. At the same time, the 8 trigrams kept spinning, forming a mysterious heavenly G that shrouded him.
Boom, boom, boom.
A deafening sound rang out, and Emperor Ziluo kept retreating. Many of the bones in his body were broken, and many cracks were all over his body. One look at him would make one's scalp tingle. This was great. The destruction spear, and the others were overjoyed. Lin Xian's lips also curled up into a smile. This was a serious injury. Even if his opponent was a great emperor, it wouldn't be good. Damn it! Emperor Ziluo half knelt in the void, surrounded by a sea of blood. His entire face was hideous. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He had been injured by his opponent, and severely at that. This was unforgivable. Immortal technique, purple qi from the east, sky-swallowing diagram. A low voice rang out. Emperor Ziluo's palms kept forming seals, and suddenly, a cloud of purple qi rushed out of his body. In the distance, there was also a purple cloud that was spreading toward them. The two formed a sky-swallowing diagram. This sky-swallowing diagram spun above Emperor Ziluo's head mysteriously. "Refine it for me." Emperor Ziluo raised his hands to the sky and controlled the sky-swallowing diagram to rush over quickly. "Not good. Everyone be careful." The Aquarius of Life said, "This sky-swallowing diagram can refine everything. Don't let it envelop you. It's useless."
Die.
The sky-swallowing diagram was the first to envelop. The 8 diagrams rolled violently. 8 diagrams, light shot out to block. Emperor Zi Luo's body was covered in blood. He said coldly, "It's useless. My sky-swallowing diagram can melt all metal weapons. You are no exception."
Damn it.
When the Destruction War Spear saw this, it rushed over in an attempt to save the other party.
You can come in as well.
The sky-swallowing diagram rolled up, and the Destruction Spear was also swept over. It wanted to refine the 2 extreme Dao weapons. The 2 extreme Dao weapons resisted fiercely, shooting out a terrifying light. But the purple sky-swallowing diagram was like a cloud. No matter how it rolled, it wouldn't break. As for the 2 extreme-grade weapons, the extreme-grade light on them quickly dimmed. This scene made everyone feel despair. Could it be that the great sovereign weapon could be refined as well? Heavens, it can't be, right? Emperor Zi Luo was simply too powerful. No wonder he was a great emperor. No one could compare to him. Was Lin Wuyi going to fail this time? Countless voices of Dao debate rang out. Lin Xian's eyes burst with a fierce light. He snorted coldly. "Watch me break your sky-swallowing diagram." You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.